Rebirth, my daily life cultivating immortality. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 51 Level Difference. Lin Zida and Wang Yang stood in front of the dark classroom. During this period, cousin Ding Xuan no longer paid attention to Jiang Ning and suddenly stopped investigating overnight. Lin Zida was puzzled. Ding Xuan was never a person who gave up halfway. Since Ding Xuan stopped investigating, Lin Zida naturally didn't meddle in other people's business. He was a person who muddled along. He came to class 8 to watch the fun and also wanted to see if Jiang Ning was as rumored. For this reason, he specially called the prestigious Nize to prevent any unexpected situation. He was still a step late. Tell me what happened just now, Lin Zida said. Okay. Wang Yang could no longer suppress his desire to talk. Even when Lin Zida got on the elevator, he was still a little surprised. Hearing Wang Yang say that Jiang Ning knocked down a group of people alone and forced others to apologize. Even though Lin Zida was knowledgeable, he had never witnessed it in real life. The next fight, don't miss it. When Lin Zida entered the room, he saw two women sitting on the sofa chatting. One was Ding Xuan, and the other woman was wearing work clothes and had a capable temperament. She was his aunt Lin Han. What are you looking at? Lin Han squinted. Lin Zida's head shrank, as if a mouse saw a cat. The sofa was his favorite place to play games. After it was occupied, he was a little unhappy, but he didn't dare to show it. He had experienced too much of Lin Han's strength. Since he was a child, he had been bullied by Lin Han, who snatched his snacks, snatched his toys, and fooled him out of his New Year's money. This girl with squinted eyes and looked a bit homely was actually a real strong woman. In recent years, the resources of the family business have tended to the real estate industry. Lin Han has billions of funds, manages major projects, and manages hundreds of people. Recently, she is negotiating investment matters with the local government leadership team. It seems that it has reached a critical period. Lin Han often loses his temper. Lin Zida doesn't want to get close to her and be scolded. He just wants to go back to his room to play games. Hide. Why are you hiding? Come and chat with your sister for a while. I will make you something delicious tomorrow. Little fatty Lin, you don't want to have no food tomorrow, do you? Lin Han said with a smile. Lin Zida turned around in confusion and sat half of his butt on the edge of the sofa. Look at Xuan, then look at you. Why don't you not go to school tomorrow? Come to my company to go through the acquisition process, and I will hand over the company's affairs to you in the future. When Lin Zida heard this, it was impossible. He quickly flattered her. Sister, how can I compare with you? You are the pillar of our family, making hundreds of millions of dollars in a minute. How dare I waste your time? Without waiting for Lin Han to speak, Lin Zida changed the subject. Sister, I heard about Jiang Ning again today. He had a fight with someone in class. Lin Han said. Jiang Ning, who is he? From the name, he seems to be a boy. Xuan, are you hiding something from me? When Ding Xuan heard her cousin mention Jiang Ning's name, she felt very complicated. After Jiang Ning came to threaten her last time, she never asked for any news. She didn't dare. She was still worried about the pills she took that day. She saw on the internet that some pills contain poisonous insects, which parasitize the human body, absorb the host's nutrients, and finally break out of the body. When she thought of this, Ding Xuan couldn't help feeling cold. A very interesting person. Ding Xuan smiled and didn't reveal any other information. Lin Han looked at Lin Zida again. Lin Xiaopang, who is Jiang Ning? Tell me about it. Jiang Ning, a student from class 8 next door. He is good at. Lin Zida thought about it, and it seemed that Jiang Ning was not good at anything. He said, he is good at fighting and can kick people away. Lin Han was stunned. This joke was not funny at all. Tell the truth, she asked calmly. Lin Zida was helpless. He really didn't know much about Jiang Ning. Besides, this person, except for fighting, seemed to have no advantages. Sister, please forgive me. I heard that Jiang Ning kicked someone away again at school today. I thought it was very interesting and said it casually. Oh. Lin Han didn't ask any more questions. What is kicking someone away? What kind of boring thing is that? What do you want to eat tomorrow? Lin Han asked the two. Lin's eyes lit up. His aunt had a strong personality and a vicious heart, but she cooked deliciously. Every time his aunt cooked, he could finish several bowls of rice. Lin familiarly reported a few dishes. Lin Han ignored him and looked at Ding Xuan. This girl was just like her mother. Ding Xuan's mother is a powerful person, which can be seen from the fact that Ding Xuan takes her mother's surname. Ding Xuan is very opinionated and smart at a young age. Recently, she came to the company to help her handle some work. She is more relaxed than the graduates from famous universities under her. She is like a demon. Her future achievements will surely be much higher than hers. Aunt, can I learn cooking from you tomorrow? Ding Xuan made a request. Lin Han was surprised. She smiled and said, I always said I would teach you, but you didn't learn. Why did you change your mind today? Ding Xuan replied, so I can cook for my aunt. Lin Han smiled. She had seen countless people, but she couldn't see through Ding Xuan's thoughts. Little fox. You are so outstanding now. If you learn cooking skills in the future, I really don't know who will marry you in the future. I don't think Jian Hu, that boy, is worthy of you. Xuan's excellence is simply not something that ordinary people of the same age can catch up with. The gap will only get bigger and bigger. The differences in knowledge, experience, thoughts, and all aspects will form a huge gap. She is no longer on the same level as ordinary people. By then, only the top men can barely match her. Lin Han pursed her lips and added in her heart, don't be like her. After dating for many years, they finally fell out because of their family backgrounds. It's okay. It's good for me to learn from my aunt in the future. Ding Xuan raised her eyebrows. Don't learn from me. You have your own way to go. Life is long and there are many wonderful things. You can experience them, but you can't indulge in them. Lin Han smiled carefreely. Ding Xuan just stared at her aunt and smiled without saying a word. If her aunt was really as carefree as she seemed, how could she give up the opportunity to invest in Nanxi and choose the unknown Yazhou city? She said that her alma mater was in Yazhou, and Ding Xuan would not be stupid enough to believe it. Lin Han felt that she was seen through by the little girl at this moment. Aunt, isn't there a class reunion today? Is there a suitable opposite sex? Ding Xuan took the initiative to ask. You asked about me. Lin Han didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Of course I have to care about my aunt. Ding Xuan said seriously. Lin Han thought about today's class reunion and said, I used to think that I would be very happy to see my old classmates and talk about the happiness of the past years, but I wasn't that happy. Many people are no longer on the same level, with too little common language, and even one of her classmates is working in a subsidiary company that she is bidding for this time. The other party's implicitly flattering attitude made Lin Han uncomfortable. Nothing special. Some people are still in school and are studying for a doctorate, some are doctors, small business owners, and a female classmate opened a pawn shop. In short, old friends are drifting apart. This was Lin Han's first high school reunion, and also his last. Chapter 52, Companions. At night, the street lights on the dam were turned off. At Yazhou No. 4 Middle School, evening self-study ended at 9:30, and the street lights on the dam were turned off at exactly 9:30. The mountain bike drove slowly, accompanied by the moonlight. Zhu Yuantong, who was sitting in the back seat, was holding her school bag, and was particularly silent. She was always laughing and talking to Jiang Ning about things in class. Jiang Ning guessed the reason, but he didn't ask. In silence, the night wind brushed across the skin, bringing a slight chill. The mountain bike turned down the dam and arrived at the door of the bungalow. Zhu Yuantang jumped off the car. She unzipped her school bag and fumbled out a white box. She tilted her head, not looking at Jiang Ning, and pushed her arm forward, and the box touched the corner of Jiang Ning's clothes. The side of her face was dyed with the silver moonlight, her hair was hanging down, her little chin was raised, and her voice was crisp. I bought too many cups, and can't return them. You must not have a cup to drink water? There is really no way. I will give it to you. Of course, if you don't like it. No. Jiang Ning took the box. Yeah, go to bed early. Zhu Yuantang left a word, and ran into the house. Jiang Ning pushed the mountain bike next door and walked to his room. He put the box in front of the window. He would go to practice the Nine Heavens Divine Thunder body tempering art later. Zhu Yuantang hid behind his door and listened to the movement outside. Jiang Ning went out again. Zhu Yuantang was so angry that her teeth itched. Jiang Ning never listened to her about going to bed early. Next time, I won't wait for him to come back before going to bed. Anyway, he is so strong that he won't be bullied. The next morning, Zhu Yuantang looked sleepy. Jiang Ning didn't come back until nearly 1 in the morning last night, and she waited until then. Only after hearing the door closing did she fall asleep peacefully. Zhu Yuantang fell asleep halfway on Jiang Ning's mountain bike in the morning. Jiang Ning woke her up when they were about to enter the school gate. Zhu Yuantang moved her face away from Jiang Ning's back and loosened her arms. She felt ashamed and angry. She was so disappointing that she actually fell asleep. Fortunately, she was not seen by acquaintances. It's all Jiang Ning's fault. Who made him ride so steadily? After the two arrived in the classroom, the classmates looked at them with ambiguous eyes, and Zhu Yuantang pretended not to see it. After Jiang Ning took his seat, Zheng Lu couldn't help asking him, "Jiang Ning, are you and Zhu Yuantang in love?" She asked very carefully, fearing that she would get an unacceptable answer. Jiang Ning did not answer Zheng Lu, but asked back, "How do you know that I'm in love with Zhu Yuantang?" Zheng Lu's heart was shocked. He was actually in a relationship. It had only been a short time, and Jiang Ning was actually in love. She answered absent-mindedly, "My classmates said so. Some said that you fought twice because Zhu Yuantang was bullied." Zheng Lu felt sour in her heart. To be honest, during this period of time, Zheng Lu felt that Jiang Ning was very outstanding. He was handsome, gentle, and always looked indifferent. Even fighting was very handsome. He obviously had the ability, but he never took the initiative to provoke others. When she was embarrassed before, he helped her out, and his favorability was directly maximumed out. If Zheng Lu had to choose a boy to date in high school, Jiang Ning would definitely be her best choice at this stage. So when she saw Jiang Ning and Zhu Yuantang getting close, she would be a little unhappy. "I rented a house next to Zhu Yuantang's house. Her mother asked me to take her to school on weekdays. The reward is to make delicious food for me every month," Jiang Ning explained. For the time being, he didn't want Zhu Yuantang to be labeled as prematurely in love. In high school, this kind of symbol wouldn't do much good, but would instead cause criticism from others. He knew too well the power of rumors, which could hurt people and kill people. After hearing what Jiang Ning said, Zheng Lu suddenly saw the light. Really? It turned out that they were just neighbors. What else? Do you believe me or them? Jiang Ning looked at her calmly. "Of course I believe you." Zheng Lu smiled brightly. Jiang Ning looked at Zheng Lu's changes, and he knew what she was thinking. He shook his head secretly in his heart. This was not good. Once his emotions were controlled by others, he would easily become anxious about gains and losses. Chemistry teacher Jiuo Ran's class was the most popular. Every time in chemistry class, the male students in the back row seemed to be possessed by top students. They didn't play with their phones, didn't slack off, and spoke very nicely. Jiuo Ren wore a white short-sleeved shirt with slim jeans today. Her outfit was simple, but it looked very good on her, especially her long legs, which were round and slender. When Jiuo Ran was giving a lecture, she liked to come down from the podium, walk along the aisle, and pass by the students. Ma Shichen whispered, "Teacher Jiuo Ran has sprayed perfume. Did you smell it?" "Yeah." Jiang Ning had 5 sensitive senses. He noticed it as soon as Jiuo Ran entered the classroom. The perfume smelled light. I guess she would not spray strong and stimulating scents if she was a teacher. It would be nice if I could take a photo with teacher Jiuo and post it on Kuaishao. It would definitely go viral, said Ma Shichen. Last week, the dormitory next door uploaded a video of 8 people playing around in the dormitory, which received thousands of likes. If he went up with the beautiful teacher, he would definitely not be inferior. Ma Shichen couldn't help but feel happy when he imagined that netizens were jealous of his beautiful chemistry teacher and made all kinds of jealous remarks. He was in a good mood, shaking his legs, humming, "The wind and clouds move, like the wind dream," raised high the wrist and arm waved thousands of people, the sword shadow jungle, For my brother's heavy grace. This is his favorite shouting song. Yesterday's Emperor. A song for a full 10 minutes. All kinds of domineering lyrics. Ma Shicheng really thinks it is so damn talented. Jiang Ning almost laughed out loud. These days, Yan Kuaishao are the most popular video live broadcast software. Shouting traffic is amazing. All kinds of MC starting anchors are rampant, attracting many people to imitate. 2 years later, there will be a song like I Drink Alone that is popular all over the country. Jiuo Ren walked around the classroom. Ma Shicheng was full of expectations, hoping that Jiuo Ren would walk around to his side and stand for a while. He had no other ideas, just wanted to listen to the teacher's teachings for a while. It's a pity that Jiuo Ren didn't know what he was thinking. In the English class later, Chen Haiyang stood next to Ma Shicheng for more than 10 minutes, making Ma Shicheng look resentful, as if he was a resentful woman whose husband had died. After the afternoon class, there was a 1 hour and 20-minute break, and then evening self-study continued in the evening. Many students took advantage of this time to go out for lunch, and Jiang Ning called Zhu Yuantang. Zhu Yuantang was too lazy to go out, so she asked Jiang Ning to bring her a portion. "What are you eating?" Jiang Ning asked her. "Whatever you eat, I'll eat," Zhu Yuantang said. "Okay, wait." Before Jiang Ning went out, she happened to meet Huang Yazhu, who was very mature. Jiang Ning was still very impressed by him, a good man who did things without showing off. "Yazhu, together?" Jiang Ning shouted. Huang Yazhu was stunned for a moment. He and Jiang Ning had only spoken 3 sentences since the start of the school, and the other party suddenly called him. He hurriedly said, "Here I come." In Huang Yazhu's mind, Jiang Ning was a popular figure in the class. The two walked side by side towards the school gate. The food in the cafeteria of number 4 middle school was not very good. Now that he had enough money, Jiang Ning was more inclined to choose to eat outside. Huang Yazhu and Jiang Ning were walking together. Neither of them spoke. Huang Yazhu felt uncomfortable, as if ants were crawling on his body. He always wondered if this would be awkward. If you were walking with a good friend, it wouldn't be awkward if you didn't speak. But if they were half acquainted, Huang Yazhu felt uncomfortable if they didn't speak while walking together. He wondered if Jiang Ning would feel as awkward as him. "All the extra tickets can be given to me, don't be stingy with your tickets." Chapter 53. Your students. Immersed in the awkward atmosphere he created, Huang Yazhu couldn't help it. He thought of a topic and spoke first, breaking what he thought was awkward. "Jiang Ning, what are you going to eat when you go out?" "I plan to go around." "Do you want to eat anything?" Jiang Ning said. "There is a chicken soup shop outside. The taste is okay and cheap. A bowl of egg soup costs 4 yuan, and it also adds shredded chicken. It is paired with a 2 yuan pancake. 6 yuan can fill you up," Huang Yazhu said. "Okay, let's go together." The two chatted casually. After leaving the school gate, they happened to meet the chemistry teacher Jiuo Ran. Jiang Ning shouted, "Hello, teacher." Then he looked at the young man next to Jiuo Ran calmly. "He is Yanbo, the boss of the black factory that secretly discharges sewage." It turned out to be this kid. Jiang Ning was surprised. He really didn't expect that Jiuo Ran's boyfriend was Yanbo. In an instant, the words of the old teacher in the previous life emerged. Jiuo Ran's boyfriend had an affair with a girl from a technical secondary school, and she got pregnant. Other parents came to find her and beat Yanbo violently, and Jiuo Ran was affected. Jiang Ning used to guess that Jiuo Ran's boyfriend was really a weirdo with a very bad character. After seeing Yanbo, Jiang Ning immediately understood that Yanbo could do things like secretly discharging sewage and polluting the environment, so it was not surprising that he would do things like abandoning her after having sex. If Jiuo Ran, a chemistry teacher, knew that her boyfriend Yanbo secretly discharged chemical sewage, I wonder if he would faint from anger. Yanbo is also a talent. He obviously secretly discharged chemical sewage, but he also went up to find a chemistry teacher as his girlfriend. "Hello, Jiang Ning." Jiuo Ran smiled childishly, looking like a female college student. She had some impression of Jiang Ning. This little boy was clean, neatly dressed, and comfortable to look at. On weekdays, when she sat by the window and taught, Jiang Ning did not look at her like other boys, but was unusually calm. Occasionally, when their eyes crossed, he would smile and be very polite. Jiao Ran admired this kind of student very much. Hello. Huang Yasu greeted awkwardly. Well, hello to you too. Compared to Jiang Ning, Jiao Ran didn't know the name of this male classmate. After Huang Yasu finished speaking, he hurriedly left with Jiang Ning. Yanbo retracted his gaze from Huang Yasu and asked Jiao Ran curiously, Ran, are they your students? Jiao Ran nodded. Yes. She came to Yazhou to be a teacher. Her job had just stabilized. Her relatives introduced her to Yanbo, and they were dating for the time being. At first, she heard that Yanbo dropped out of junior high school, and she felt a little resistant. After getting to know him for the past few days, she actually felt that he was not bad. Yanbo is not ugly, generous, interesting, and has a good family background. He is a suitable marriage partner. If they get along for a while, Jiao Ran should not have too much resistance. She doesn't have high standards. As long as the person is down to earth and works hard, it's fine. Huh. Your student? I thought the one on the right was a teacher. Yanbo was speechless. The student just now looked older than him. Jiao Ran glanced at him and said, what are you talking about? You are really my student, just a little older. That's not just ordinary old. Yanbo sighed. Jiao Ran didn't talk to him more about this topic. She asked, why did you call me out? Yanbo smiled like a gentleman and said, there is a new Japanese restaurant in the city. I'll take you to try it. He has been picking up girls for many years and has a good grasp of women. The decoration of Japanese restaurants is usually well made, surpassing ordinary stores. The dishes are small and exquisite, the service attitude is good, the atmosphere is good, and the dining ritual is full. Girls like this kind of place the most. After hearing this, Jiao Ran really didn't refuse. She was really interested. Yanbo shook the car key. Let's go. He was proud in his heart. Things didn't go well some time ago. He had a good factory and earned thousands of dollars a day. As a result, he didn't know what bad luck he had. Either the power was off, or the sewage pipe was blocked. He couldn't sleep every day because of worry. He sent people to squat repeatedly, but still couldn't find the reason. Finally, he couldn't stand it anymore, and closed the shop. He simply hung out with the technical secondary school girl he had hooked up with a few days ago, and he was so happy. She was so young, too young. It happened that his family introduced him to a girl, who was said to be a teacher. Yanbo actually hated teachers. When he was a child, he was always scolded by his teachers because of his poor grades and his love for making trouble, which left a shadow on him about the profession of teacher. At the same time, when he heard that the other party was a teacher, he felt an inexplicable forbidden pleasure. So Yanbo accepted the invitation to meet her. He was attracted to Jiao Ran at the first sight and vowed to chase this woman. Now they have known each other for a week. Yanbo finds time to look for Jiao Ran every day. If it were those schoolgirls he talked to, with his means, flowers, small gifts, and high-end restaurants, he would have already talked about love in a hotel in more than a week. However, he didn't even touch Jiao Ran. But Yanbo was not in a hurry. He was always patient when dealing with Jiao Ran. Anyway, he was outside and had a technical secondary school student to entertain him. Jiao Ran could take his time. Jiang Ning tasted the chicken soup in the spoon. There were too many spices, but the taste was okay. He was thinking about how to deal with Yanbo. Jiao Ran, his chemistry teacher in his previous life, took good care of him. At that time, he had just arrived in Yazhou City and went from a township middle school to a municipal middle school. He was confused. It was also during that time that Jiao Ran designated Jiang Ning as the chemistry class representative. Every time Jiang Ning collected the homework of his classmates, he would take it to the office and give it to Jiao Ran. Jiao Ran didn't have the airs of a teacher in private. He would always take out snacks from the drawer for Jiang Ning, such as dried fruits, chocolate, nuts, etc. Occasionally, he would talk to him and comfort him. It was because of Jiao Ran that Jiang Ning's chemistry grades were always very good. It was his only excellent subject. Many years after graduation, Jiang Ning returned to school with the idea of finding Jiao Ran, but he had lost all contact information. According to the old teacher, Jiuo Ran's face was cut by a knife during the incident, which probably disfigured him. Of course, in modern society, if Jiang Ning insists on looking, it is not impossible to find clues. He gave up after all. I guess Jiuo Ran at that time would not want to see his student. Besides, Jiang Ning was not doing well at that time and had no face to face his former teacher. Now he will start over again, just to thank Jiuo Ran back then. He will not stand idly by. If he develops normally, with Jiuo Ran's temperament, he will be a very good teacher in the future. It is a pity that he was ruined by a scum like Yanbo. What Jiang Ning has to do is not only to prevent Jiuo Ran from being hurt, but also to kick Yanbo away. Break Yanbo's legs at night. Usually, Jiang Ning prefers to solve the root of the problem directly. This is a good way, but if Yanbo's legs are broken, Jiuo Ran might go to the hospital to take care of him. After a while, Yanbo might pretend to be pitiful in the ward to get closer. Forget it, I won't beat him anymore. Jiang Ning gave up this idea. Hit the head. He thought, with his skills and spiritual power, it would be no problem to beat Yanbo into a vegetative state with one blow. It's not a real vegetative state, but under the precise control of spiritual power, Yanbo fell asleep, which would not endanger his life. Wait a few months and let him wake up. In this case, Jiuo Ran and him must have broken up. Thank you, book friend 2022072516580761. Quote, to Urbeo for the reward. Chapter 54, Never End. Jiang Ning has never been a procrastinator. After making a plan to defeat Yanbo, he immediately started to implement it. Now that Yanbo has left, Jiang Ning has no idea where he lives or where he usually moves around. But Jiang Ning has his chemistry teacher Jiuo Ran as a lead. The next morning, during the break, Jiang Ning dropped a spiritual seed on Jiuo Ran. After school in the afternoon, he found Yanbo with the help of Jiuo Ran, and then dropped another spiritual seed on Yanbo. After that, things were much simpler. He just needed to find Yanbo at night and defeat him. After the evening self-study, Jiang Ning sent Zhu Yuantang home first. The night sky was dark tonight, and the moon shrank into an arc, emitting a barely detectable moonlight. Jiang Ning took out his iPhone 5, and the small 4-inch screen showed 9:20 p.m. As usual, he walked to the bottom of the dam and spread his spiritual consciousness. There was no one within 30 meters. Jiang Ning confidently performed the key concealment technique, and his figure disappeared into the night. The spiritual consciousness in the palm of his hand tracked, in a state of no target. With Jiang Ning's current spiritual consciousness, the spiritual consciousness tracking can only accurately locate the target within 5 kilometers. Yanbo was not within 5 kilometers. But Jiang Ning was not worried. He was in the suburbs, several kilometers away from the city center. He would go to the city center first. Jiang Ning activated the divine step, stepped on his right foot, and flew out. Only a minute later, Jiang Ning ran 2 kilometers, and the spiritual tracking on his palm suddenly took effect, firmly locking a position. Found you. Jiang Ning looked indifferent, and rushed towards the destination. More than 2 minutes later, Jiang Ning stood on the street. Yanbo and a girl about 16 or 17 years old walked side by side, and came out of the barbecue restaurant together. The girl took his arm and smiled sweetly. Yanbo also raised his head and chest, full of vigor and vitality. It seems that Yanbo has now hooked up with the girl from the technical secondary school. Jiang Ning noticed that the girl was holding a white portable paper bag in her other hand. The paper bag looked very familiar. Jiang Ning remembered that when he went to buy an iPhone 5, a customer bought an iPad tablet and was given this kind of paper bag as a gift. With the profit of Yanbo's small factory, buying an iPad as a gift is not a big deal. Some girls from ordinary families who are not well versed in the world, facing such expensive gifts, plus a little sweet talk, will indeed be easily pursued by men in society and give everything. In the future, this girl will get pregnant and then abandoned until the parents come to settle the account. Jiang Ning's palm swung spiritual power, and spiritual power surged out and surrounded his palm. This slap on Yanbo's head will surely make him a fool, and it will not leave any trace. Before taking action, Jiang Ning deliberately used his spiritual sense to explore the 30-meter radius to ensure that people like Ting Xuan would not appear again. Jiang Ning stared at Yanbo, and suddenly his mind moved, and the spiritual power in his palm dissipated by itself. He changed his mind. Jiang Ning took out his iPhone 5, and the key concealment technique instantly covered it, still in invisible state. He walked in front of Yanbo openly, turned on the camera function of his mobile phone, and took several photos of the two of them. Then he turned to the side. After the two of them had dinner at the barbecue restaurant in the evening, what were they going to do? The answer was self-evident. As Jiang Ning expected, Yanbo and the girl walked into the hotel arm in arm, and during the period, Yanbo's hands were dishonest and touched randomly. Jiang Ning took all these pictures. He shot a spiritual seed through the air and printed it on the girl. The background of the two disappeared in the hotel. At this moment, Jiang Ning gave the hotel and them a close-up. After the incident, Jiang Ning looked through the photos in his mobile phone. Anyone could see the relationship between the two and what they would do when they entered the hotel through the photos. Jiang Ning could send the photos directly to teacher Jiuo Ran now. He believed that after Jiuo Ran saw it, he would never pay attention to Yanbo again, but he did not do so. Instead, he chose another way to teach teacher Jiuo Ran a lesson and avoid choosing such a man in the future. Jiang Ning opened Taobao and spent 2,000 yuan to order a photo printer. It's going to be a good show. He thought so. In his previous life, the girl's parents could even beat Jiuo Ran, so they were not easy to deal with. The next day at noon, after Jiang Ning cut the vegetables, he said to Zhu Yuantong, "You cook, I'll go out for a while. If I come back late, don't wait for me." He returned to his room. The SF Express that he bought online had arrived very quickly and was placed on the desk. There was a yellow envelope on the table. It was a photo printed by Jiang Ning. It contained a photo of Yanbo and the girl, as well as Yanbo's action information. Yanbo will go to number 4 middle school to find Jiuo Ran, the chemistry teacher, on time in the afternoon these 2 days. Jiang Ning picked up the envelope and performed the key concealment technique. Following the spiritual consciousness tracking, he came to the city. There are many old houses in the center of Yazhou. They will be demolished in a few years, and the owners will receive a large amount of compensation, so they will have no worries about food and clothing. The location of the spiritual consciousness seed is in an old community that will be demolished in 2 years. The houses here are about 6 or 7 floors, there is no elevator, and the environment is average. In order to get married, most young people bought elevator houses and moved away from here. The roads in the community are narrow, and some cars are parked randomly, and pet dogs and cats run on the road. But there are also advantages. Compared with high-rise buildings, the life atmosphere in the old community is more intense. Many uncles and aunts gather together to play chess, cards, and mahjong. The sound of scolding came from a distance. Jiang Ning went to watch. There were more than a dozen people around the quarrel. Jiang Ning's height has grown to 178, and he can see clearly without standing on tiptoe. The uncle and aunt cursed each other with trash words, and saliva sprayed on each other's faces. The scene was very intense, and it was suspected that they would get out of control and wrestle in the next moment. However, they never fought. The two kept cursing and cursing until a child in the back room shouted, "Mom, stop cursing and come home for dinner." The fight ended. "You son of a bitch, I'll spare you this time. Next time your dog dares to chase my chicken, I'll chop it up and eat it in hot pot." The aunt said something cruel and went home to eat. The uncle also said a few cruel words and went back to have lunch. Jiang Ning left reluctantly. He walked slowly along the community and stood in front of a building. After about 20 meters, the spiritual consciousness seed is located on the first floor, and the door of the first floor is not closed. Jiang Ning walked directly into the house, where the family of 3 was eating. The dishes on the table were not rich, just a simple plate of shredded potatoes, a pot of cabbage vermicelli, and a bottle of Laogan Ma chili. The middle-aged man was wearing a vest and looked quite tough, while the hostess was fat and had a mean face. The girl who sat obediently on the stool was the girl who checked into the room with Yanbo that night. In front of her parents, she acted like a good girl. Jiang Ning held the envelope and stared at her coldly. He knew very well that, if he put the envelope in the other party's house, it would inevitably cause a huge family dispute, and the girl would be severely humiliated by her parents, or even beaten up. However, Jiang Ning did not hesitate. If he did not put the envelope, the girl would be pregnant in a few months, and her fate would be even worse. Anyway, no matter what, she was destined to be discovered by her parents in the end. The earlier, the less harm she would suffer. Besides, whether the other party was miserable or not, what did it have to do with him, Jiang Ning? He smiled, and his spiritual power vibrated to remove the fingerprints on the envelope. With a flick of his finger, the envelope bounced towards the glass. Bang! A sound came. Who smashed my window? The man in the vest turned his head and looked at the window. The yellow envelope fell on the windowsill. He walked to the windowsill, picked up the envelope in confusion, shook it twice, and then opened it, took a look, and his face changed drastically. Seeing this scene, Jiang Ning no longer paid attention to the follow-up. He went back the way he came, but halfway through, the old man and old woman who had been arguing came out with their bowls of rice, glared at each other, and started swearing at each other again. They were probably tired from the previous argument, so they ate a bite of rice to replenish their energy, and when they were full of energy, they continued to argue. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 55 to Ambushes. After Jiang Ning returned home, Zhu Yuantang put her elbows on the dining table, her chin supported by her small hands, and looked over with blinking eyes. Jiang Ning, you're back. Zhu Yuantang said excitedly. She had been waiting for a long time. She thought Jiang Ning would not come back. Originally, Zhu Yuantang was only going to wait for 5 minutes. If Jiang Ning did not come back, she would eat first, and all the delicious food today would belong to her. As a result, after waiting for 3 5-minute periods, Jiang Ning still did not come back. She did not move her chopsticks. Then, Zhu Yuantang realized that she was a little too excited and immediately calmed down. Why should I be happy that he is back? She looked at Jiang Ning with disgust. What have you been doing for so long? I'm starving. Something happened. Okay, let's eat, Jiang Ning said. Zhu Yuantang pointed to the spoon and bowl on the table. You came back too late, so you have to serve me rice as punishment. Okay. Jiang Ning had no objection. HMPH. You can only eat one piece of sweet and sour pork with pineapple today. Okay. Are you a repeater? Zhu Yuantang asked again. Today you wash the dishes. Jiang Ning said, no. Before the afternoon class, Jiang Ning received a call, which made him excited. The herbal medicine merchant claimed that the soul-sinking incense had arrived, with a total of about 3 catties, and asked Jiang Ning how much he needed. The price of soul-sinking incense is 1 teal of weight, 3,000 yuan, 3 catties is 30 teals, and the total price is 90,000. Jiang Ning sold 2 gold bars last time, and made a profit of more than 100,000 yuan, which was more than enough for him to take all the soul-sinking incense. The soul-sinking incense greatly increases the cultivation of spiritual consciousness. It won't take long for Jiang Ning's spiritual consciousness to increase by a large margin and obtain the spiritual consciousness secret method small dispersion. By then, there will be more things to do. Jiang Ning directly deposited the 90,000 yuan into the herbal medicine merchant's account and asked him to send it by SF Express. The herbal medicine store is quite large and is located in the herbal medicine wholesale market. It is unlikely that it will close down for tens of thousands of yuan. Moreover, for someone who can easily pay tens of thousands of yuan, the herbal medicine dealer will know that the other party's wealth is definitely more than that. Class 8 of grade 1, number 4 middle school. After the second class in the afternoon, Shan Keikwon came to Ma Shichen with an unhappy face. Brother Ma, the day before yesterday you and Ma Ozhe were joking. You said Ma Ozhe was not a good person. I didn't take it seriously at first, but now I really want to say that this person really deserves a beating. When Ma Shichen heard him say this, he immediately said indignantly, "Yesterday he went to the small supermarket. I thought of a classmate, so I asked him to bring me a bottle of water, but this grandson asked me if I didn't have legs. Damn, if I wasn't kind, I would have beaten him at that time." Ma Shichen is still annoyed when he thinks about it now. Shan Kaikwun cursed. "Just now I saw him playing with his phone, so I slapped him. It's just a slap between classmates. What's the big deal? He hit me with his backhand, and he used a lot of force. I hit him back, but he scratched me with his claws." Shan Kaikwun pointed to his neck, where there were 2 blood marks. Ma Shichen didn't notice it just now, but when he saw it, he was furious. Shan Kaikwun continued, "He scratched me, and I asked him, 'Are you serious?' Do you know what he said? He said I deserved it." Ma Shichen was shocked and said, "Is this thing a dog? Didn't you mess with him?" "I did. I punched him. If it weren't for the class monitor and the others to stop the fight, you see I would have beaten this son of a bitch to death." Shan Kaikwun said with disdain. "Myro Zhe wears glasses and is not tall. If no one stops the fight, he can beat 2 Myro Zhe." Ma Shichen thought for a moment and said, "This person is not worth getting along with. Don't play with him anymore. He can't take a joke. It's too late. Myro Zhe has caused public outrage. CUIU from our dormitory has said that he will deal with Myro Zhe this afternoon." Ma Shichen said, "Isn't this a bad idea? Isn't it too ugly for a class to do this?" Shan Kaikwun replied, "CUIU and the others have already decided. We have no right to interfere in this matter." He looked like he was just having fun. Shan Kaikwun looked at Jiang Ning's seat, which was empty. He asked, "Where's Jiang Ning?" "It seems he went out with Zheng Lu," Ma Shichen said with envy. Zheng Lu just dragged Jiang Ning out and didn't know where he went. Shan Kaikwun suddenly said, "If Jiang Ning touches my Ozhe, he will definitely not dare to fight back. Isn't this nonsense?" Ma Shichen thought to himself that my Ozhe was not a fool. There was no one in class 8 who dared to touch Jiang Ning. Jiang Ning doesn't seem to play with other students usually. Shan Kaikwun sighed. Before the evening self-study, Jiang Ning came out to settle the matter, which made him have a good impression. He heard from Jiuo Kunan that he didn't have money to take a bus home last week, and it was Jiang Ning who lent him money. As soon as he came back from vacation, Jiuo Kunan immediately returned Jiang Ning's money. Talking about Jiang Ning, there was some melancholy in their conversation. "Don't worry about it. I heard that Myro Zhe likes to go outside the school to eat fried noodles. CUIU and others are preparing for dinner. Let's go and see what's going on." Shan Kaikwun gloated. "No one doesn't like to watch the fun, and it's the annoying people who get beaten up." Ma Shichen must go this time. When Jiang Ning came back, he had a bottle of Pockery Sweat in his hand. As a condition for accompanying Zheng Lu to the small supermarket, she asked Jiang Ning to choose a bottle of drink. Jiang Ning originally chose mineral water, but Zheng Lu said it was too cheap and changed it to a more expensive bottle. Pockery Sweat. Jiang Ning likes it very much. It's funny to say that this is the first time a girl has bought him a drink. The last class in the afternoon was the class of chemistry teacher Jiuo Ran. Jiang Ning unscrewed the lid and took a sip of pulse. The time marked on the envelope he gave to the girl's family was exactly the break time after the afternoon class. If things go as expected, the family will come to number 4 middle school to cause trouble for Yanbo. In order to prevent teacher Jiuo Ran from getting hurt, Jiang Ning planned to follow and pay attention. Otherwise, if the plan fails and Jiuo Ran is affected again, it will be a lot of fun. A class is 40 minutes. For male students, Chen Haiyang's class is more difficult than 4 hours. From time to time, they will be asked to answer questions by him. If they can't answer the questions, they will be punished to stand. Jiuo Ran's class seemed to end in less than 4 minutes, which made people feel unsatisfied. After class, Zhu Yuantang walked to Jiang Ning's seat and pushed out a 10 yuan note. "Bring me a squid burrito, a little spicier than mild spicy, without lettuce and onions. And buy me a cup of osmanthus rice wine. The rest of the money is for you to run errands." Jiang Ning took a look at her and saw that she looked generous. If it were usual, Jiang Ning would definitely bring it to Zhu Yuantang, but not today. He had something to do. He said, "I don't want to move either." Zhu Yuantang sighed faintly. "Jiang Ning, you disappoint me so much." She walked away with a purse mouth, planning to buy it herself. After Zhu Yuantang left, there were only 7 or 8 students left in the classroom. Jiang Ning activated the spiritual consciousness seed on Jiuo Ran. Within this range, Jiuo Ran's whereabouts were completely under his control. Perhaps Jiuo Ran was delayed for a while, until more than 10 minutes later, Jiang Ning sensed the movement of the spiritual consciousness seed. Jiang Ning stood up at the right time and walked towards the school gate alone. He looked from a distance and saw Yanbo waiting under the street light next to the flower bed on the main road of the campus. During class, the gate of number 4 middle school was closed and social idlers could not enter. Now it was afternoon break, and students and teachers coming and going at the school gate could be seen everywhere, so naturally it was not so strict. Yanbo was standing there the other day. In order to make it easier for the girl's parents to find the position, Jiang Ning specially marked it out. Jiang Ning observed for a while longer and sure enough, a middle-aged man in a grey vest nearby was staring at Yanbo secretly. Chapter 56. I can't hide it anymore. Jiang Ning touched the keypad phone in his pocket. He had taken it from a scrap dealer. This type of keypad phone is worth only 100 yuan at most. Jiang Ning stuffed 200 yuan into the scrap dealer's tricycle. There was a phone card in the keypad phone. This was the phone card that Jiang Ning had bought for 80 yuan. In September 2013, the real name system for phone cards had just started, and there were still many phone cards that had not been authenticated. After a few years, these phone cards without real name authentication would be suspended. Jiuo Ran was walking over from a distance, and Yanbo greeted him with a smile on his face. Jiang Ning could hear clearly that Yanbo praised Jiuo Ran for her beautiful dress today. Jiuo Ran was very reserved. The two chatted for a few words and walked out together. Yanbo was in a good mood. In order to please Jiuo Ran, he took special care to prepare different surprises every day, trying to establish a relationship in one fell swoop. Today he booked a Western restaurant and also talked to the staff of the flower shop to send flowers over halfway. Yanbo's car was parked outside the long street. There were many food stalls on the long street in front of the number 4 middle school, so it was difficult for cars to drive in. Behind the two of them, the man in the grey vest quietly followed. As a father, he was extremely angry. This young man clearly had a lover, and he also abused his daughter. If someone hadn't sent him the photo, he would still be in the dark. It was his fault for not disciplining his daughter, but it was too late. But this young man was more responsible, and he wanted to chop the boy up. He had already found someone, and he would have to beat the boy to the hospital later. It was only natural for him to stand up for his daughter. The man in the grey vest passed by the alley and looked inside. The fat woman was standing there. The two were a couple, and their every move was very familiar. The fat woman walked out of the alley with a few men and dispersed into the crowd. As they got farther and farther away from the school gate, there were fewer and fewer food stalls. Near the intersection, there were only a few students here, which was completely different from the hustle and bustle of the school gate. Yanbo's car was parked on the side of the road. Jiang Ning took out his keypad phone and dialed 110. Someone answered the phone soon. Jiang Ning changed his voice. Hello, police comrade. There is a gang fight at the intersection in front of Yuzhou number 4 middle school. There are 7 people in total, and some are holding controlled knives. Please send police as soon as possible. Without waiting for the other party to answer, Jiang Ning repeated it again, and then hung up the phone directly. He turned off his phone, vibrated his spiritual power, removed the fingerprints on the phone, and then threw the phone into the trash can. The reason for this secret is that Jiang Ning does not want to contact the official department for the time being. Yuzhou is a city-level city, and there are many talents in the official department, including experienced old policemen with fierce eyes. They are professionals, and Jiang Ning will not underestimate them. Once they find something wrong, there will be countless troubles in the future. In the final analysis, it is because he is not strong enough that he is so cautious. If he has the cultivation of the Jiandan realm, he can destroy mountains with a casual blow, kill ordinary people with a glance, and fly at supersonic speed. At that time, who in the world dares to make a second voice in front of him? After this matter is resolved, it's time to set up the spirit gathering formation as soon as possible. After calling the police, Jiang Ning did not leave. He was worried that something unexpected would happen before the police arrived. Jiang Ning pretended to pass by here as usual. Yanbo pressed the car key, and the car beeped twice. As usual, he opened the door for Jiuo Ran first. At this time, the middle-aged man in the grey vest approached. Yanbo looked at him in confusion, and Jiuo Ran was also confused. She felt something was wrong. "You are Yanbo, right? Do you know my daughter?" the man in the grey vest asked him. Yanbo said impatiently, "Who are you? What daughter? I don't know her, don't block me." He had made a reservation at the Western restaurant, and was in a hurry. Yanbo pretended to open the car door, and suddenly his shoulders tightened. The man grabbed his clothes, and stared at him coldly. Yanbo said angrily, "I bought my clothes from Hale and Home. They cost more than 800 yuan. Try to pull it again." He was not afraid at all. He could run an illegal factory, secretly discharge sewage, and hire people to follow him, so how could he be afraid of others? "I'm asking you, if you know my daughter?" The man suppressed his anger. "Who are you?" Yanbo's face was ugly. His luck today was too bad. He came out to eat, and met a psychopath. Jiuo Ran couldn't stand it anymore and advised, "What are you doing? Let him go first, okay? We can talk slowly, if there is anything." The man turned his head suddenly and roared, "Shut up." Jiuo Ran took a step back in fear. "I'm asking you, do you know my daughter? Do you know her?" The man shouted word by word. His eyes were glaring, and the veins on his forehead were exposed, looking extremely ferocious. The fat woman's eyes were also angry. She came up, and threw a photo and slapped it in front of Yanbo's face. Yanbo looked at the photo and his face changed suddenly. It was a close photo of him and a girl. "I slept with someone's daughter, and now her parents are here to find me. This is bad." Yanbo is not worried about getting beaten. He subconsciously glanced at Jiuo Ran. If Jiuo Ran knew about this, he would definitely have no chance. "It's just a photo. I can't admit it. I must not admit it." His mind raced, and in a panic, an idea flashed in his mind. "Your daughter taught me English, so what's wrong with me treating her to a meal? Is there a problem?" The man in the grey vest almost laughed at him. How could he not know his daughter's grades? She couldn't even get into high school, and she could still give people English tutoring. This kid still doesn't dare to admit it. What a piece of shit. The man slapped Yanbo in the face with a slap. Still being stubborn, "Tell me the truth." Yanbo struggled hard, but he couldn't get away from the middle-aged man in his early 40s, who was in his prime. "Speak, speak, speak to me." The man slapped him repeatedly. Jiuo Ran came up to stop the fight. "Stop fighting, you can talk it out. Fighting can't solve the problem." The fat woman cursed. "Your man slept with my girl. Do you understand? You bitch. Take care of your man. Let him go out to seduce someone else." Jiuo Ran had just graduated from college not long ago, and didn't have much experience. When the fat woman scolded her like this, she felt her face burning. You can't know a person's heart by his appearance. She never thought that Yanbo would be this kind of person. Yanbo was struggling, and there was still room for maneuver, but he heard the woman spill the beans. He immediately became anxious. "Fuck your grandma." Anyway, he and Jiuo Ran were definitely finished this time. If he was beaten again, it would be even more miserable. He took out the car key and stabbed the man's hand. The man in the grey vest felt pain and couldn't help but let go. Yanbo was slapped several times. His face was numb and painful. He had never suffered such a loss before, and he was so angry that his head was dizzy. Anyway, he had blown off the ice with Jiuo Ran, so he scolded without any scruples. "Blame me? Why don't you blame your daughter? You raised a good daughter. She scolded you to every day in front of me, scolding you for not being good to her. You don't know how bad she scolds." Yanbo was completely out of control. When the man heard this, he was furious and pulled Yanbo to beat him. "You son of a bitch. Hold him." The man called for help. Several men swarmed up and instantly held Yanbo to death. The fat woman was watching from the side and saw Jiuo Ran standing there in a daze, with a weak face. "Fox spirit, look at what a piece of scum your man is." The fat woman became more and more angry. It was this woman who let her man out, otherwise her daughter would not be ruined at all. The middle-aged man pressed Yanbo to the ground and beat him until he screamed. The fat woman listened to the screams, looked at Guo Ran's vixen-like face and her long smooth black hair, and jealousy and hatred accumulated. She took out a knife and said, "I'll cut your hair, you stinky bitch." She reached out to pull Guo Ran's hair, and Guo Ran pushed back in fear. But how could a woman who didn't even dare to kill a chicken deal with a fat woman who had been hanging around in the market for years? Seeing her hair about to be pulled, Guo Ran felt desperate. Jiang Ning saw this scene, and he put his hands in his pockets. "The police are here. Why don't you run away?" The chaos stopped instantly, and the fat woman turned around and saw a police car whizzing in the distance. She quickly pulled her husband up, and then took the other people and ran away. Jiang Ning said again, "Teacher Guo, I'm leaving first." He waved to Guo Ran and turned to leave before the police car arrived. "Don't hide the ticket, just hand it over." Chapter 57 The Forgotten Man. The first class of the evening self-study class was taught by Chinese teacher Dai Yangqun. After solving the problem with Guo Ran, Jiang Ning did not join in the fun, but returned to the classroom. Guo Ran is probably still in the police station, and Yanbo must have been in the hospital. Jiang Ning saw clearly that the man in the grey vest was furious and beat Yanbo with his hands and feet without mercy. Yanbo broke at least a few ribs and had a slight concussion. According to his guess, the man in the grey vest will definitely be arrested afterwards. Although Yanbo did something immoral, he was seriously injured after all. If Yanbo's family helps and hires a good lawyer, the man in the grey vest will probably have to pay a lot of money. After this incident, Guo Ran must have learned his lesson. Classmates, turn to the compulsory course 1. Today we will look at Zhuo Zuan. Dai Yangqun said. Zhu Ziwu retreats the Qin army. I tell you, you must study this classical Chinese article well. This classical Chinese article must be on the monthly exam this time. Next, please ask a classmate to read the full text for us. Dai Yangqun began to call the roll, and the students in the back row immediately lowered their heads. Dai Yangqun scanned the class and looked down at the student name list on the podium. The list was arranged according to the students' positions. Although he didn't recognize the names of the classmates, as long as he had this list, he could ask questions to anyone he wanted, without worrying about not being able to call out their names. Dai Yangqun randomly selected a classmate from the list. Mao Zhe, you recite for everyone. Then he looked up at Mao Zhe's position, and found that Mao Zhe's position was empty. Dai Yangqun was stunned for a moment and asked, "Where is the class monitor?" Did Mao Zhe ask for leave? Huang Zhangfei said, "No." If it weren't for the Chinese teacher, Huang Zhangfei would not have noticed that there was a student missing in the class. Maybe he asked for leave directly from the class teacher. He said, when classmates ask for leave, they usually tell the class monitor, and then he takes the leave form to the class teacher for approval. Of course, some students will ask for leave directly from the class teacher. When Ma Shichen saw that Mao Zhe didn't come, his face suddenly changed, and he thought to himself that it was not good. He knew very well that Mao Zhe didn't ask for leave. Oh, then let's change a student. Dai Yangqun called someone else to read. Ma Shichen was one seat away from Shan Keiquan, so he quickly wrote a small note. Keiquan, didn't see you let Mao Zhe out. After school in the afternoon, he went out to eat. He, Shan Keiquan, CUIU and others went to the Good Days restaurant at the door. Good Days only serves fried rice and fried noodles for dinner, with vegetables and eggs for 4 yuan per serving, which is cheap and affordable. Mao Zhe goes there every afternoon. This restaurant has good business. The store is full of students, and you need to run fast to get a seat. At the back of the Good Days restaurant, there is a partition door. Pushing the door open is the yard. There are several tables and chairs in the yard, and there are 3 small rooms. One of the small rooms has 3 computers. The other 2 small dark rooms are also equipped with tables and stools, which are reserved for other students to eat. Some students don't want to squeeze in the store, so they go to the yard to eat. Today, CUIU and others went to the yard to eat in order to deal with Mao Zhe. Mao Zhe usually likes to eat fried noodles in the small room. After finishing his meal, Cuiu gave Ma Shicheng and the others a look, ran outside the small room, closed the door, while Mao Zhe was not paying attention, and then pushed the door bolt in. In this way, Mao Zhe was locked in, and could not get out. At that time, Ma Shicheng was so amused, that he did not think too much, thinking that Cuiu would let him out, so he left with Shan Keikwun. Now that he found that Mao Zhe was not there, he felt that something was wrong. It's bad. Mao Zhe hasn't come out yet, has he? Shan Keikwun was also confused after reading the small note. He really didn't know. He was just watching a show. He quickly wrote a small note to Cuiu. Brother Cui, where is Mao Zhe? Cuiu was not short, but very thin as straw. After he finished his business, he thought that Ma Shicheng and the others would let Mao Zhe out, so he paid for the meal and left. If the Chinese teacher hadn't mentioned Mao Zhe, he would have almost forgotten about it. What the hell? Cuiu was about to curse. There were so many people in the Good Days restaurant. Was there no kindred person who let Mao Zhe out? Didn't the boss notice? He changed his mind and thought it was possible. The boss was usually busy in the restaurant and would never go to the backyard when he had nothing to do. Maybe he would go to the yard to let Mao Zhe out after cleaning up the dishes. The key point was, who knew when the boss would clean up the dishes? The first class of the evening self-study class had begun. Cuiu wondered whether he should ask the teacher for leave and go out of the school to let Mao Zhe out. For high school students, skipping classes was a serious matter. Jiang Ning heard the students read it once and felt that it was not right, so he showed his classmates how to recite classical Chinese. He slapped the textbook on the desk and began to recite, "The country is in danger. If Zhu were to meet the king of Qin, the army would retreat." Jiang Ning's voice was up and down, his voice was full of emotion, his expression was intoxicated, and his hands were swinging. If you block the sound, you would think he was conducting the band. Cuiu was anxious below. He wanted to interrupt Jiang Ning, but he didn't dare to interrupt. He was like an ant on a hot pot. When Jiang Ning was reciting to the impromptu part, the classroom door suddenly opened, and Mao Zhe walked in with a gloomy face and walked towards his seat. Although Cuiu usually disliked Mao Zhe, at this moment, seeing Mao Zhe return, his heart suddenly felt much more at ease. Fortunately, he only missed less than 10 minutes. Mao Zhe suddenly came in and interrupted Jiang Ning's recitation. "Get out!" Jiang Ning scolded. Mao Zhe stopped. "I told you to go out, but you didn't even say hello before pushing the door." Mao Zhe went out with a gloomy face and stood at the door. "Hello, teacher." Jiang Ning nodded. "Well, go in. Next time, say hello before entering the door." He taught him a lesson. Jiang Ning lost interest in reciting after being teased by Mao Zhe. After class, Mao Zhe went to the back row with a gloomy face. Cuiu stood up quickly. He thought Mao Zhe was here to take revenge. Ma Shicheng, Shan Keikwun, Jiuo Kunan and other students in the back row surrounded him. Yu Wen in the front row frowned and said to her desk mate Shenkinj, "Do you think our class has a bad atmosphere? How long has the school started? Why are there always fights?" Although Yu Wen also watched with relish, she complained just to highlight her quality as a good student. Shenkinj said, "It's okay, there are also fights in other classes. There was a fight in class 7 the day before yesterday. 4th middle school is actually much better." She used to go to the town middle school for junior high school. The back of the class was not a classroom at all, it was a battlefield. Students often get into group fights outside the school over trivial matters. She has to avoid them when walking after school. She has also been molested by some hooligans who dropped out of school. If it weren't for Jiang Ning protecting her, she might have been taken advantage of. Jiang Ning used to be thin, but the owner of the barbecue restaurant next to the town's middle school is Jiang Ning's cousin, and he has a lot of connections, so few people bully Jiang Ning. Thinking of Jiang Ning, Shenkinj felt a little sour, especially when she heard that Jiang Ning had taken action to protect Zhu Yuantang last time. She was even more unhappy. She doesn't need Jiang Ning to protect her, but she just feels unhappy. It's like a toy she likes. When she gets tired of playing with it and doesn't want to play with it anymore, she can put the toy in a box, disassemble the toy, give the toy away, and treat the toy however she wants. But if someone snatches her toy, she will feel very depressed. There is another chapter later. Chapter 58, Small Distraction Method. Myozhe was getting closer and closer. Cuiu was ready to fight him, but Myozhe suddenly stopped in front of Wang Longlong. Myozhe stared at Wang Longlong, and the fire in his heart surged. He wanted to slap Wang Longlong. Wang Longlong was honest. When he saw Myozhe approaching, he still sat in his seat and said calmly, "What are you looking at? Look at your bare appearance." Myozhe slammed the table and almost yelled, "Who told you to close the door? You locked me in." He wore big black framed glasses and his face flushed with anger. "If the boss hadn't come to open the door for me, I would have missed class." Missed class? Cuiu was confused. It was obviously me who closed the door. What did Myozhe want to do with Wang Longlong? Did he find the wrong person? What did he think of me? It was obviously me who did the bad thing. Ma Shichen looked at Cuiu with a strange look. Cuiu himself was confused. Why did Wang Longlong take the blame? Wang Longlong was very confident and retorted, "What nonsense are you talking about here? I went to the restaurant to eat and heard someone shouting in the room, so I opened the door for you out of kindness. You are so good, you just glared at me and scolded me." Wang Longlong was furious at the time. He was so honest and finally mustered up the courage to do a good deed, waiting to be thanked, but Myozhe scolded him all over. Impulsive, Wang Longlong closed the door in anger and locked Myozhe in the room. After eating 2 mouthfuls of food, he left the restaurant directly. He, Wang Longlong, would not stand this bird's rage. Myozhe would never listen to Wang Longlong's words. He was so angry that he stretched out his hand to pinch Wang Longlong's neck, shook him and shouted, it's you who closed it." Wang Longlong's head was shaken up and down, and he was dizzy. He was a little fat, and his size was a circle bigger than Myozhe. Bang Bang gave Myozhe 2 punches on the shoulder. Myozhe felt the pain and pinched harder. His nails were sharp and long, so you can imagine how hard he pinched people. When the student life committee member Hu Jun saw the students fighting, he said righteously, "What are you still standing there for? Go and stop the fight." The class monitor Huang Zhongfei ran from the front row to the back row, spread his arms in the middle, and tried to pull the 2 apart. Wang Longlong slammed his fists bang bang bang. Myozhe pinched his neck with a vicious expression and shook Wang Longlong's head up and down. Wang Longlong almost vomited his dinner and made a goose 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 sound. Zheng Lu suppressed a smile on his face and said to Jiang Ning with a strange expression, "Although I know this is not good, they are really funny. Ha 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 ha." Zheng Lu couldn't hold it anymore. Ma Shicheng and Shan Keikun looked at each other, speechless. What the hell is this? Finally, the 2 looked at Cuiu and asked tentatively, "Brother Cui, aren't you going to stop the fight?" "Cuiu, please don't talk to me. I'm very confused now." He was struggling over whether to stop the fight when suddenly the class went silent, as if something terrible had happened. Cuiu looked towards the door, and a figure walked into the class. It was the head teacher Shan Qingrong. Shan Qingrong was wearing a white shirt with the hem tucked into his pants and a belt tied outside, revealing his beer belly. After Shan Qingrong came in, he stared at the 2 men. "Huang Zhongfei, stop trying to stop them. Let them fight." Huang Zhongfei stopped trying to stop the fight and withdrew. Myozhe stopped shaking, and Wang Longlong stopped boxing. Both of them were as obedient as children. "Why don't you fight?" Shan Qingrong asked with a smile. The 2 were about to answer, but Shan Qingrong said, "Come with me to the office." Shan Qingrong took the 2 of them away, and Ma Shicheng and the others were terrified. "The head teacher has something. I just thought he was going to beat them both." Shan Keikun thought for a moment and said, "They should be taken to the office to be beaten. I'll go and see when the class is about to start." Cuiu asked worriedly, "Will they betray me?" Ma Shicheng said, "Don't worry. They are both fools. Otherwise, they wouldn't fight." Cuiu was relieved when he heard that. With 1 minute left before the class, Shan Keikun ran out to the toilet. After he came back, He told people privately that Mao Zedong and Wang Lang were squatting in the office, and Shan Qingrong was beating them. Ma Shicheng and the others' faces changed. It seemed that they had to be careful in the future. This head teacher was ruthless. The next day at noon, Jiang Ning had just finished his meal when SF Express notified him that the express delivery had arrived. Jiang Ning signed for it with great anticipation. Back in the house, he unpacked the package, and after several layers, an exquisite wooden box appeared. In Jiang Ning's opinion, the wooden box alone was worth hundreds of yuan. Opening the wooden box, there were 3 pieces of brown redwood as big as goose eggs. Smelling the unique smell, Jiang Ning immediately confirmed that it was indeed the soul-sinking incense. Its medicinal effect was good, and it was almost catching up with the quality of the immortal world. Before using the soul-sinking incense, a kind of herb is needed as a medicine guide, otherwise it will not only be useless, but will affect the mind. Jiang Ning had prepared the herb in advance, which was a red flower. Jiang Ning cast the spell of gathering water, summoning a cloud of water mist, and the red flower was immersed in the water mist. He shot out a spiritual fire, and drilled into the water mist like a spirit snake. The red flower exploded lightly, and the branches and leaves scattered into the water mist. Congeal. The words came out, and the law came, and the water mist gathered instantly, and turned into a ball of red liquid. The soul-sinking incense rose into the air, and the green sword energy followed it like a shadow, circling around the incense. The whole incense was peeled into twisted wooden strips like a pineapple. Jiang Ning waved his hand, and the wooden strips that were gathered together scattered and floated crookedly. Quench. The hot red liquid poured down, making a sizzling sound. The wood strips of the soul-sinking incense softened instantly, and then pulled by the spiritual power, they immediately became straight, and the original brown gradually turned into orange. After waiting quietly for a while, Jiang Ning controlled the spiritual fire to roast the spices and dry the moisture in them. Soon, a row of orange thinwood strips appeared in front of Jiang Ning, a total of 24, and the real soul-sinking incense was made. Jiang Ning took out a palm-sized incense burner, took out a soul-sinking incense, and inserted it on it. He closed his eyes, let go of his spiritual consciousness, and began to practice the golden mysterious dividing spirit technique. A refreshing fragrance spread out, and a light orange smoke filled the room. The soul-sinking incense took effect. The most amazing thing about the soul-sinking incense is that it can directly nourish the spiritual consciousness. A trace of smoke enters the spiritual consciousness and moisturizes the mind. The spiritual consciousness is like swallowing a tonic. Jiang Ning's mind is clear, and the speed of spiritual consciousness training is instantly accelerated. With the nourishment of the soul-sinking incense, Jiang Ning does not have to worry about the consumption of spiritual consciousness, and his progress is more than doubled. Half an hour later, Jiang Ning opened his eyes, very satisfied with this practice. He looked at the incense burner, and the soul-sinking incense had just burned out. 3 soul-sinking incense sticks a day. In just 1 week, the consciousness can control the secret art of small distraction. If he can perform the secret art of small distraction, Jiang Ning can refine some small spiritual objects, such as a protective jade pendant. A mini array is implanted in the jade pendant, and then a small consciousness is separated to make a protective jade pendant. The small consciousness is similar to artificial intelligence in later generations. It can record many dangerous situations. When the small consciousness encounters those situations, it will automatically activate the spiritual array. If an ordinary person wears a protective jade pendant and encounters a car accident, the protective jade pendant will emit spiritual power to bounce the owner away, allowing the car to pass. Or if you encounter an attack from others, the small consciousness can also activate the jade pendant spiritual array. The strength of the ability to avoid danger is related to the strength of the spiritual array in the jade pendant. Jiang Ning is going to make a few and give them to people close to him. In the previous life, his parents were healthy and safe for a short period of time and did not suffer any accidents. However, Jiang Ning's rebirth has caused a butterfly reaction, and the future may change. He must protect his parents. I need jade materials to make a protective jade pendant. It's time to go to Xiao Xuanshang's place and buy some jade materials from her. Jiang Ning put away the soul-sinking incense. I have been promoted. I promised to add more chapters. There will be more chapters in 2 days. I know everyone says it is short because I was recommended late. Others have finished the 3rd round and I have only finished the 2nd round. I'm worried that the word count will exceed. I hope everyone will read it in the next few days. Chapter 59 Not Alone. Jiao Ran slept until noon before waking up. She sat up, her hair messy, leaning against the headboard, her pretty face still sleepy, and the dark circles under her eyes showed that she went to bed very late last night. Jiao Ran was stunned for a while. Thinking of what happened yesterday afternoon, she was still scared at this moment. The woman with the knife chased her. If Jiang Ning hadn't reminded her, she really couldn't think of the consequences. What a scumbag. Jiao Ran smiled miserably. After the police went to question her, she completely understood what Yanbo had done. She thought Yanbo was a good person before, and had made plans to stay with Yanbo. If the girl's parents hadn't suddenly come to the door, she would have been the next victim. Thinking that she might become the girlfriend of a man like Yanbo, Jiao Ran felt a chill just thinking about it. Fortunately, God sees what people do, and God took away Yanbo, a scumbag. Jiao Ran got out of bed and opened the curtains. The midday sun shone in. The sudden strong light made her squint. The brilliant sunlight penetrated the dust in the air and scattered on her skin, shining like white jade. She went to class in the afternoon and thanked Jiang Ning by the way. Thanks to him, otherwise she would have been in trouble before the police arrived. Jiao Ran was grateful. If Jiang Ning had asked her to tutor him in chemistry during the 3 years of high school, she would have done her best to teach him well. Tomorrow is a short holiday, and there are still only 2 classes in the afternoon of the 4th middle school. The first class is chemistry, and the second is music. Before class, Ma Shichen whispered to Jiang Ning, "You know the music teacher, right? She is the female teacher who also uses an iPhone, and has a rich family." He envied her. In the era when smartphones were just beginning to become popular, being able to use an iPhone did seem a little more noble than other brands. Nowadays, many iPhone cases always have a space on the back of the case, revealing a large Apple logo to tell others, "Look, I use an Apple phone." This shows its brand influence. For example, Ma Shichen holds a smartphone all day long, but because he has no money, he can only use an Android phone to tinker with it. In fact, he really wants to experience the iPhone. He heard that after the iPhone obtains jailbreak permissions, it can do many things. However, the phone he is using now was bought by his parents after begging them for a long time, and it cost more than 1,000 yuan. Ma Shichen only knows Huang Zhangfei, Bei Yuxia, and Jiang Ning who use iPhones in the class. At least in Ma Shichen's eyes, using the new iPhone means being rich. What's wrong with her? Jiang Ning asked. The music teacher was about 25 or 26 years old, very tall, about 1.78 meters, about the same height as Jiang Ning now. The height of the boys in their class was mostly over 1.7 meters, and the music teacher did attract a lot of attention when they first saw him. Ma Shichen said, the music teacher was hired by the school at a high price. I was chatting with someone before, and heard that the music teacher was from Dongjiang province. She has her own job there. In order to save trouble, she arranged the classes of all the classes she teaches on the same day, so that she comes to number 4 middle school once a week, and after teaching all the classes, she takes the high-speed rail and leaves directly. It's quite impressive. Jiang Ning said. He really didn't know about this before. His impression of the music teacher was that she had a good figure, dressed trendy, and taught professionally. Ma Shichen continued, in addition to the music teacher, I also found that the physics teacher is interesting. Last Friday when I went back from holiday, I saw the physics teacher and other teachers got on the bus. I thought they were going to a party, but later I heard from others that they were going to a training institution in Anshi. I will be picked up and dropped off by car, with food and lodging provided. I can go to Anshi to teach for 2 days and get 1500 yuan. Ma Shichen smacked his lips. Going there 4 times a month would earn me 6,000 yuan, which was just extra money, but was higher than his father's salary. At the same time, he was a little unhappy. He is so busy making money that he doesn't teach us well. Look at the physics teacher's lectures. What the hell is he talking about? I feel that he is not as good as my junior high school teacher. Jiang Ning had heard a little about this kind of thing. He had some impression of the physics teacher. What he remembered most clearly was that the physics teacher had a son who was 1 year older than them and was now in the second year of high school. Later, he took the college entrance examination and was admitted to Jiang University, which is one of the top 985 universities in the country. After his son was admitted to the university, the physics teacher planned to teach the experimental class, but the academic affairs office rejected it, saying that his teaching attitude was not serious. So when the physics teacher taught ordinary classes, he would intentionally or unintentionally mention his 985 son to show off, which made many students dissatisfied. Later, a student reported his tutoring to the physics teacher, and the physics teacher was punished. While the two were talking, the bell rang. Jiang Ning walked into the classroom and looked in Jiang Ning's direction. When their eyes met, Jiang Ning smiled. After Jiang Ning felt the kindness, he put the textbook on the desk and said to everyone, "I know you are about to have a holiday, so I will not teach new content today." Suddenly a boy's voice sounded from behind. "The teacher still understands us. You are so nice, teacher," and other such compliments. Jiang Ning reminded everyone to open their textbooks, and she marked the knowledge points one by one. Before the short holiday, teachers of each subject would assign homework, and Jiang Ning was no exception. Before the end of class, Jiang Ning distributed a set of test papers. When the bell rang, she stood on the podium and shouted, "Jiang Ning, come to my office." As soon as these words came out, the students in the class fell silent. Since Jiang Ning taught class 8, she has never called any student out alone. Why did teacher Jiang Ning call Jiang Ning? Could it be that the two are relatives? Some people speculated. Jiang Ning ignored their gazes and stood up from his seat. Jiang Ning thought that Jiang Ning didn't know where the office was, so he stood at the door waiting for him and then left with him. Zheng Lu turned around and asked, "Do you know what the chemistry teacher wants to see Jiang Ning about?" She was very curious. She had been sitting with Jiang Ning these days, and Jiang Ning had nothing to do with the chemistry teacher. "I don't know. It should be to discuss learning matters," Ma Shicheng said. "I want to go too," he said. Jiang Ning next to him sighed. "If other teachers call me to the office, I will definitely not be happy. If it's the chemistry teacher, I can stay there every day. Who hasn't fantasized about a good-looking female teacher before, especially in high school?" Unfortunately, when she really appeared in front of him, he was shocked to find that except in class, he would hardly have any intersection with the teacher. What's more, Jiang Ning heard that someone would drive to pick up Jiang Ning at the school gate every afternoon. That should be Jiang Ning's boyfriend. Jiang Ning is so beautiful, there must be many people chasing her around her. He felt a little heartbroken. Men always feel regretful when they see a beautiful woman of the opposite sex embraced by another person. Although Jiang Ning is only a high school student, he is no exception. Seeing that several people did not know the reason, Zheng Lu guessed. The chemistry teacher asked him. Maybe it was about the class representative. Chemistry does not have a class representative now. The study committee also serves as the class representative of some subjects, but there are many subjects in the first year of high school, and the study committee cannot manage them. Some teachers of each subject will individually assign students to serve as class representatives. Ma Shicheng asked, "Jiang Ning's grades are not good, right?" This topic instantly attracted the attention of several other people. In high school, the most important thing is always grades. No matter how good you are in other aspects, if your grades are poor, it is difficult for others to look up to you. Generally speaking, students who take the initiative to sit in the back row generally have poor grades. Jiang Ning analyzed rationally. You can see something from the learning atmosphere. In class, the students in the front rows listen to the class well, while Jiang Ning, Ma Shicheng and others bow their heads to play with their mobile phones, fighting wits and courage with the teacher. When the class is over, the students in the front row are doing homework, and Jiang Ning and others are still playing with their mobile phones. Jiang Ning is very self-aware. Ma Shicheng, Shan Keiquan, and Cui are all poor students. In his eyes, Jiang Ning is no exception. Thinking of this, he actually felt a little better. As long as everyone is as bad as me, I won't feel bad. Jiang Ning thought to himself, I'm not alone. Zhenglu wanted to refute when she heard this, but she couldn't say anything because her grades were actually average. Because of her poor grades, she planned to take the path of an art student, to take the college entrance examination in the future. Seeing that no one spoke, Jiuo Kanan said firmly, I don't know about other things, but Jiang Ning will definitely not be a representative of the chemistry class. Chapter 60 Makeup Lessons. Jiang Ning, how about you be the chemistry class representative? Jiuo Ran put down the disposable paper cup and looked over with a smile. The pure water in the cup swayed gently, and the fluctuation amplitude became smaller and smaller, and finally approached stillness. There were only 2 people in the office. Time seemed to stop, and suddenly rolled back and flowed back. Jiang Ning suddenly recalled the past. How long ago was that? Teacher Jiuo Ran also handed him a glass of water in this way, and also looked at him with a smile. At that time, Jiang Ning was just a student who suddenly broke into the city from a remote town. He was inferior, timid, poor, and full of shortcomings. It was also under such circumstances that Jiuo Ran chose him as the chemistry class representative. That time it was sympathy, this time, it should be gratitude. Jiang Ning's eyes touched. Are there any benefits to being a class representative? Jiuo Ran was stunned. She didn't expect that the student would actually bargain with her. Fortunately, Jiuo Ran was smart. She pressed her cheek with her fingers, tilted her head slightly, and replied, I can give you some snacks. There are pine nuts, almonds, pecans, dried mangoes, and beef jerky. Do you want some? Yes. Jiang Ning felt an inexplicable feeling in his heart. Okay. Jiuo Ran clapped his hands and solemnly announced, from now on, you will be the chemistry class representative of class 8 of senior 1. This is your award. Jiuo Ran opened the cabinet of his desk and took out a white handbag filled with snacks. Jiang Ning did not refuse. He had eaten Jiuo Ran's snacks countless times. When I come back from vacation, I will go to the class to clear your name. The class representative still needs to notify the class, otherwise Jiang Ning's self-talk may not be effective. After confirming the class representative, Jiuo Ran cared about Jiang Ning's situation again. She thought she still had the temperament of a caring big sister, otherwise she would not have chosen to be a people's teacher. When the class bell rang, Jiang Ning said goodbye and left. Jiuo Ran handed the snacks to Jiang Ning. Jiang Ning took a few steps and looked at the student's back as he was about to leave. Jiuo Ran said, thank you, Jiang Ning, for yesterday. Only by experiencing it personally could she understand how dangerous that moment was yesterday. The woman held a dagger in her hand, and the hatred of revenge for her daughter seemed to overwhelm her. She hid in bed last night and was scared all night. If it weren't for Jiang Ning's voice at that time, she couldn't imagine the consequences. She was very grateful to Jiang Ning. Jiang Ning didn't look back. He turned his back to teacher Jiuo Ran and raised the snacks in his hand. You have already thanked him. After saying that, he turned and left. Jiuo Ran sat on the chair with a bitter smile. She always felt that Jiang Ning didn't look like a high school student at all. Instead, he had an indescribable free and easy indifference. Jiang Ning returned to the classroom with snacks. He came in first and the music teacher followed. Ma Shichen saw the bag in Jiang Ning's hand and immediately became excited. What's in it? Snacks? Did you go to the small supermarket? No, teacher Jiuo Ran gave it to me. Jiang Ning said. Ma Shichen waved his hand in front of Jiang Ning and asked in confusion, are you sick? He made a diagnosis. You are very ill. Zhenglu in front of him pricked up her ears. She heard the conversation between the two clearly. She trusted Jiang Ning very much, but she also felt unbelievable. For a moment, she didn't know whether she should believe Jiang Ning. Jiang Ning opened the bag. Look at these snacks. Are they sold in the supermarket next door? Ma Shichen took a few glances, and it was true. He had never seen the snacks inside. He often went to the small supermarket at the door, and was sure that the small supermarket next door didn't sell them. Ma Shichen said, I really haven't seen them. Give me some. Jiang Ning gave him 2 bags. Ma Shichen couldn't wait to open the snacks. On the podium, the music teacher's voice was loud and clear. She was teaching everyone pronunciation skills. When you sing, you must use the technique of abdominal pronunciation so that the volume can be raised. Do you hear me speak differently from others? Next, I will teach you how to use the abdomen to pronounce. Although the music teacher is not as beautiful as Guo Ran, she is also an urban beauty, and her voice is powerful and pleasant. Ma Shicheng watched the music teacher giving a lecture, and found it very appetizing. After finishing the snacks, he was still not satisfied and wanted to ask Jiang Ning for 2 more, but he felt it was too shameless. Did teacher Guo Ran really give it to you? Ma Shicheng still didn't believe it. He thought that someone else must have given it to Jiang Ning. Jiang Ning nodded, his face calm. Ma Shicheng looked at his calm look, thought about it carefully, and believed most of it. He had never seen Jiang Ning lie. He suddenly felt a little blocked, and even the snacks didn't smell good anymore. Zhenglu was thinking about writing a small note and passing it over when she suddenly felt a touch on her back. Jiang Ning gave her 2 bags of snacks. Jiang Ning did not give others any more. After all, it was teacher Guo Ran's intention, and he would not give it away easily. After the second class, Jiang Ning rode his bike to send Zhu Yuantang home. The fields under the river dam were golden, and the breeze blew through them, making the straw sway. Zhu Yuantang sat sideways on the back seat of the mountain bike. She tied a high ponytail today, and her calves were white and tender under her black shorts. Jiang Ning, you have 7 days off. Are you going away? Where to leave? To my parents, or back to the village? No, my parents are out of town. It's a bit far. Jiang Ning said, it doesn't matter if I go back to the village or not. There aren't many people anyway. Oh. Zhu Yuantang became happy. Before, she was still wondering if Jiang Ning would leave during the short vacation. If Jiang Ning was gone, she would be a little bored. In the past month, she has been with Jiang Ning every day, with cars picking her up and dropping her off, and someone buying and cutting vegetables for her. She has never experienced such a happy life. Thinking of this, Zhu Yuantang's mind became hot, and he said seriously, Jiang Ning, if you have no money in the future, I will rent my house to you for free, without charging rent. Is the water and electricity included? Yes. Oh, then I have no money, and I will definitely have no food to eat. Will you take care of my food? Zhu Yuantang gritted his teeth and said, if I have a bite of food, you must have one. So good. Jiang Ning noticed Zhu Yuantang's determination at this moment. No matter what the future holds, at least at this moment, she really wants to give herself food. Jiang Ning suddenly asked, are you afraid that I will leave? Zhu Yuantang's body trembled, and she almost fell off. Fortunately, Jiang Ning rode very steadily, and she held Jiang Ning's clothes tightly with both hands. She realized that she was holding Jiang Ning, and quickly let go of his hand, as if she was eager to get rid of Jiang Ning. Who's afraid? Humph, just go if you want to. Anyway, my house is easy to rent. I won't keep you for 200 yuan. You come back so late every night, making people unable to sleep. Other families will definitely not rent a house to you. It's just that I'm kind and can tolerate you. She threatened Jiang Ning. Well, you have a point. Jiang Ning agreed. It's good to know. There are not many kind people like me. Zhu Yuantang thought to herself, if you dare to run away, I won't give you tutoring. In a blink of an eye, she denied it. After eating so many meals for Jiang Ning, she still had to make up for it. At most, she would reduce the tutoring level from 985 universities to 211 universities. Chapter 61. The picture was stolen. After returning home, Jiang Ning took 2 bottles of evergreen liquid and 2 gold bars. Using the soul-sinking incense to assist in cultivation is not cheap. A 1 pound soul-sinking incense is worth 30,000 yuan. 1 pound is made into 24 incense sticks. 3 sticks a day, and it will be used up in 8 days. The daily cultivation cost is close to 4,000 yuan. It is indeed not easy to cultivate spiritual consciousness. In comparison, it is easier to cultivate the body in the present world. If you find the right method, you can cultivate with the help of voltage. As long as you keep up with the nutrition, you will progress rapidly. Jiang Ning rode his bike to the pawn shop in the city. The flying insects in the air rushed towards him. As soon as they touched Jiang Ning's skin, they were electrocuted by the weak current that popped out. When he arrived at the pawn shop, Jiang Ning pushed the door in as usual. As expected, there was still only Xiao Shuangshang inside. You are here? Xiao Shuangshang greeted him. Jiang Ning had come 3 times and was considered a regular customer of the store. Jiang Ning got straight to the point. Do you have jade materials here? Take them out and let me see. The jade materials used to make body protecting jade pendants must be able to withstand the spirit array. Jiang Ning was not sure what kind of jade material was suitable in the current world, so he needed to test it several times on the spot. Since he came to Shaoshuangshan to exchange gold, he asked, by the way, there are some jade materials, but not many types. After all, this is not a jade shop, but a pawn shop similar to a middleman. The store has the most watches, gold, and jewelry. As for antiques, Shaoshuangshan doesn't play with them. She has a poor eye, and it is too easy to make mistakes, and she doesn't have enough money. Let me find it for you to see. Shaoshuangshan searched at the counter for a while, took out a box, put it on the table, and then opened the box. There were pieces of jade of different colors and sizes on the white silk cloth. These are all the jade materials in the store. There are also some jade jewelry. Do you want to see them? Let's look at the materials first. Give me a glove, Jiang Ning said. Shaoshuangshan smiled and said, it's not so particular. Just start. Jiang Ning touched the jade and sensed them one by one. Finally, he chose 2 pieces of light blue jade materials as big as eggs. The material of these 2 pieces of jade can be engraved with spirit formations. How much? It's not worth much, just take it. Shaoshuangshan said. I won't take advantage of you. Just give me 800. The material is not worth much. The 2 items that Jiang Ning selected were actually worth thousands of yuan. Considering that he had been here twice, Shaoshuangshan gave him a discount. Okay. Jiang Ning accepted it. He was just wondering casually at first, but he didn't expect Shaoshuangshan to have jade materials here. As expected of a pawnbroker, he had all kinds of strange things. After buying the jade materials, Jiang Ning offered 2 gold bars. Just transfer it directly. Jiang Ning used to accept cash, but later he went to the deposit machine to deposit money to buy the soul-sinking incense, which was more troublesome. Now that he is familiar with the transaction, and he has locked Shaoshuangshan as his target, he can relax his vigilance a little. His bank card was opened with his parents' identities, but it was bound to his mobile phone number, and the text message reminders were also sent to this mobile phone number, so his parents didn't know the balance in the card. After Shaoshuangshan transferred the money, Jiang Ning received a text message on her mobile phone, notifying her that 170,000 yuan had been deposited into her account. The balance that had shrunk due to the purchase of the soul-changing incense had been replenished again, reaching more than 200,000 yuan. This money was enough for the down payment of a house in Ancheng. After the transaction was completed, Shaoshuangshan hesitated for a moment and took the initiative to ask, how did you know that I was losing my hair recently? In fact, she usually didn't tell others about such private matters. It was really too strange last time. Before Jiang Ning left, he actually noticed that she was losing her hair and reminded her. In the past few days, every time Shaoshuangshan lost her hair, she would think of Jiang Ning's words. Patients are always like this, trying their best to grasp every hope and repeatedly ponder every clue to increase the hope of recovery. Judging from your condition, my cousin is exactly the same as you. Jiang Ning made up a reason. However, in Shaoshuangshan's ears, she didn't pay attention to how he judged it, but focused on his cousin. Your cousin is losing her hair? She asked. Yes. In Shaoshuangshan's eyes, Jiang Ning immediately seemed to be rich in experience. What happened to your cousin later? She continued to inquire. Sometimes patients don't trust doctors, but trust their predecessors who have the same symptoms as them, and want to judge their future conditions from their current conditions. Jiang Ning looked at her and smiled brightly. Later, she became bald. Shaoshuangshan's heart tightened, and her emotions changed accordingly. She maintained her smile. You won't lie to me. Jiang Ning was of course lying to her, and he continued to add, she is really bald. Can you imagine a woman with a bald head? Shaoshuangshan could think of it, but she didn't dare to think about it. She was not married yet. If she was bald at such a young age, it would be really excellent. A few days ago, on the night of the Mid-Autumn Festival, their whole family gathered together to celebrate the festival. The cousin is 24 years old this year. He works in a government agency and has a bright future. His family is from Yuzhou and has good conditions. Such a young talent originally had no shortage of partners. However, the tragedy is that he was bald at the age of 24 and his hair was sparse. If he was completely bald, it would be okay to become bald, but he was only bald on the top of his head, becoming a standard Mediterranean hairstyle. Because of his baldness, the women who were going on blind dates were happy to accept his invitation, but after seeing his hairstyle, they all thought that it was not suitable. Xiao Shuangshan could empathize with her cousin's helplessness and bitterness. With the experience of her peers, she was even more anxious when she thought that she was on the road to baldness. I was bald for about a year or two. My cousin used medicine, Chinese medicine. You know Chinese medicine, right? After using Chinese medicine, my hair grew back. Jiang Ning fooled her. Chinese medicine always has a mysterious effect. People often say that they got sick, went to several famous hospitals, spent a lot of money, but could not be cured. In the end, they found a famous old Chinese doctor in a certain place, spent dozens or hundreds of yuan, prescribed a medicine, and recovered quickly. Jiang Ning has heard of several such cases. It cannot be completely denied that Chinese medicine is indeed very powerful. Of course, there are also many quacks. The reputation of Chinese medicine is mostly ruined by those quacks. Xiao Shuangshang's first reaction was to not believe it. It sounded too fake. Her cousin had considered going to the hospital for hair transplantation, but the price was expensive. Depending on the number of hair loss to be transplanted, it might cost tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands. Seeing her hesitation, Jiang Ning said, "Let me show you what my cousin just posted yesterday." He took out his phone, logged into questions, and then clicked on a person's avatar to enter her question space. The latest dynamic. Let's say this white bottle of green hair liquid is too amazing. I was bald for 3 years, and after applying it for a month, my hair actually grew out. Woohoo. It's real. I'm crying. White bottle of green hair liquid is always the god. Bald sisters, go for it. Expression X7. Below are a few comparison photos before and after baldness. The difference is huge, like two different people. In addition, there are a few down-to-earth product close-ups. Xiao Shuangshang stared at it for a long time, with a look of yearning, and finally reluctantly returned the phone to Jiang Ning. Jiang Ning was satisfied. The number was bought, the picture was photoshopped, and everything was carefully designed. But the evergreen liquid is real, produced by the world of immortal cultivation, and has a very strong hair growth effect. As long as Xiao Shuangshang takes the bait, she will never be able to escape. If a virtual cousin is not created in advance, but the evergreen liquid is suddenly given to Xiao Shuangshang, she will most likely not try it. This medicine is used on the head after all. But with a cousin, who has the same disease as a case, patients often become bolder to try. Sure enough, after seeing the real case, Xiao Shuangshang asked Jiang Ning, "Is this hair growth liquid really useful?" Jiang Ning said, "I don't know. How about I ask my cousin for you? Thanks. Please contact me as soon as possible if you have any follow-up news." She asked again, "Do you use WeChat? Let's add a contact method. This software is very useful. My second uncle is illiterate, and now he holds his mobile phone every day, sending voice messages and chatting in the group." Xiao Shuangshang said something extra. "I have WeChat," Jiang Ning said. During this period, the number of WeChat users has exceeded 400 million and is rapidly breaking through 600 million, gradually becoming a trend. There will be another chapter later. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 62. Jumping back and forth in the world of thought. After Jiang Ning and Xiao Shuangshang established contact, they did not delay. In the evening, he gave her 2 bottles of Changqing liquid. The jade bottle was exquisite and small. In Xiao Shuangshang's opinion, this bottle was not cheap. "My cousin bought too much, and the rest. Her hair has grown. It would be a waste to leave it alone. After you use it up, Just return the bottle to me. Jiang Ning bought some small things these days, such as the elixir bottle, the incense burner, and the jade bottle of shanking liquid in front of him. Okay, thank your cousin for me. Xiao Shuangshan thought that if the chanking liquid was really useful, she would buy some cosmetics for Jiang Ning's cousin and reciprocate. At 10:30 in the evening, Xiao Shuangshan locked the store door and drove home. Life was full of hope. When she got up the next morning, she looked in the mirror and looked at her messy hair, and she felt bad again. She picked up the jade bottle on the sink, unplugged it and smelled it. The strange fragrance lingered in her nose. She had never smelled such a fragrance before. Xiao Shuangshan held the jade bottle and suddenly hesitated. Before she took over the pawn shop, she was a nurse and had some medical knowledge. After a good night's sleep and calming down, she found that she was a little bit drunk yesterday. After seeing the photos posted by Jiang Ning's cousin, she impulsively asked Jiang Ning for medicine. This bottle of so-called hair growth medicine has no brand, no ingredient list, and is a completely 3-no product. Xiao Shuangshan has never heard of it. Except for the strange fragrance, it is just an ordinary blue liquid. Is the effect really as his cousin said? Is it possible that Jiang Ning is lying to me? Xiao Shuangshan is not afraid of being cheated. She is mainly worried that the medicine is toxic. After all, it is something used on the head. If it contains harmful substances, it will definitely harm health. He gave it to her for free, which is more suspicious. Being in the porn industry, Xiao Shuangshan has heard of and come into contact with many scams. She was even cheated once and paid a lot of tuition fees. Or, don't use it. Xiao Shuangshan was entangled. She stood in front of the mirror, picked up the comb to comb her hair, filled a basin with hot water, soaked her hair as usual, squeezed out shampoo, rubbed, and pulled her hair. As she moved, strands of black hair fell into the basin. When Xiao Shuangshan started to rinse, she saw a basin full of fallen hair tangled together. There was a hint of horror. The mood that had finally calmed down was fluctuating again. Am I going bald? Xiao Shuangshan asked herself, and all the hidden fears came out at once, scratching her heart. She first recalled her cousin's Mediterranean hairstyle and the teasing of several bald elders at the dinner table. Then, she thought of the bald photo of his cousin that she saw on Jiang Ning's mobile phone yesterday. When Xiao Shuangshan thought about what she would become like in the future, she couldn't help but feel chilled. Her thoughts jumped to the high school reunion she attended a few days ago. A girl who used to be in the same class with her was successful and famous. She actually had billions of funds and controlled the major project of Yazhou Commercial Center. At the banquet, the former female classmate was stunning, and her every move was full of unspeakable charm. Looking at herself now living in a corner and guarding a small pawn shop, Xiao Shuangshan couldn't help feeling ashamed. How can the light of a firefly compete with the bright moon? She is a firefly, and others are the bright moon. Others have already stepped into the so-called upper class circle, while she is still worried about a small bald head. Xiao Shuangshan, you are really useless. She cursed inwardly. Sometimes she would think how good it would be if she was the woman in the center of the crowd that day. She has never experienced that kind of life. But she would have a strange idea that she is a bald person. Even if she stands in the center of the crowd, she will only receive countless teasing. The photos of Jiang Ning's cousin, especially the comparison photos before and after baldness, flashed through her mind again. Xiao Shuangshan's face changed, and finally her brows were twisted, and a surge of air suddenly rose in her chest. Fuck. Who cares if it's poisonous or not? I'll use it. Xiao Shuangshan pulled out the white jade bottle stopper and poured the whole bottle of green liquid on her head. She remembered the instructions of Jiang Ning, gently pressed her scalp with her fingers, and finally wrapped her hair with a towel and waited for 10 minutes. The waiting time was long and difficult, especially when Xiao Shuangshan didn't know the effect of the medicine. Xiao Shuangshan stood in the bathroom, and the hot blood in her heart cooled down after 5 minutes. Her heart became cold. Strange thoughts popped up again. Will the medicine be useless? Is it possible that it is a fake medicine? After using it, my hair will not only not grow, but will fall out. She began to regret it. The more she thought about it, the more scared she became. Her years of experience as a nurse once again possessed Xiao Shuangshan. She began to believe in science, and she began to question everything. Xiao Xuanxiang thought she was crazy, but she was so scared. What if she became bald faster after using it? In this anxiety, the 10-minute alarm rang. She turned off the ringtone and quickly washed the top of her head twice. After washing, she felt empty. The continuous worry made Xiao Xuanxiang exhausted. She was still afraid, and this fear lasted until she finished breakfast and took out her cell phone. Xiao Xuanxiang sent a message to her classmate who worked at the health bureau. Nanan, do me a favor. Nanan is not here. Xiao Xuanxiang, there is a new self-service barbecue restaurant in the city. The price per person is 298 yuan. I heard that the taste is very good. I made a small fortune recently, but unfortunately no one wants to go with me. It's just a small favor, it's not worth mentioning. Girl, tell me quickly. It's like this. Xiao Xuanxiang expressed her idea of testing the Changqing liquid. You want to check if it is toxic, right? Nanan replied. Yes, I see. I'll ask for you. Xiao Xuanxiang knew that this sister had a wide network of contacts. A few minutes later, the other party sent a voice message. They said that they only simply check the ingredients, not the complicated things like microorganisms, and the results will be out in half a day. You drive to pick me up, and we will deliver the things. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the test results came out, and the Changqing liquid did not contain toxic ingredients. Xiao Xuanxiang's heart, which had been hanging for the whole morning, was completely relieved, and she felt comfortable all over. It's good that it's non-toxic. It's good that it's non-toxic. Thinking of the absurd things that happened today, she almost wanted to cry, but had no tears. She finally understood how terrible it was to try all kinds of treatments when she was desperate. After she calmed down, she regained her former rationality and shrewdness. Jiang Ning didn't harm her. Perhaps he gave her this bottle of medicine out of kindness. But Xiao Xuanxiang didn't hold out hope. She had to live her life as she should. Even if it was just temporary hair loss, it wouldn't have such a big impact on her. She felt that she could accept the fact of hair loss calmly. Since she couldn't resist, she simply didn't resist. Until a day later, Xiao Xuanxiang washed her hair again. Looking at the empty water in the basin, she was stunned. Surprise, shock, relief, happiness, all kinds of emotions gathered. She was ready to be bald. What was this? Immediately, Xiao Xuanxiang fell into deep thought. Could it be that the evergreen liquid that Jiang Ning mentioned is really useful? This medicine is too powerful. It works as soon as it is used. Xiao Xuanxiang ran to the bedroom and found another bottle of evergreen liquid. She only poured a little bit of it when she took it for testing, so there is still more than half of it left in this bottle. To test the efficacy of the medicine, we must find a bald person. Anyway, my cousin's Mediterranean hairstyle is hopeless. Why not try it with him? Xiao Xuanxiang dialed her cousin's number. I will add one more chapter to show my sincerity. Tomorrow is Tuesday, which is particularly important and a very critical day. I hope everyone can read it tomorrow. Thank you. If you advance, I will add 3 more chapters for you. Friends who have votes, please vote for me. There are so few monthly votes recently. Chapter 63. Let him leave. Jiang Ning's short holiday was peaceful. His parents who worked in other places called him and told him to take care of his health and eat well. His uncle was busy with business, and Jiang Junlang went out to travel. So Jiang Ning was obsessed with cultivation every day, refining key gathering pills, pressing the voltage to refine his body, and exercising his spiritual consciousness. His life was very fulfilling. The restaurant where Aunt Gu worked was even busier, and she came back very late every day. Jiang Ning would call Zhu Yuantang to get up in the morning, but she always slept in, and then Jiang Ning tempted her with lunch. So Zhu Yuantang followed Jiang Ning to the vegetable market to buy vegetables. Zhu Yuantang handled all kinds of ingredients, and her cooking skills improved very quickly, worthy of the title of Little Chef. Passing by the river dam in the morning, there was an old man selling fish. Zhu Yuantang asked curiously, and all these fish were caught in the river. After Zhu Yuantang returned home, he ran to the warehouse and searched for a long time and came out with a piece of fishing rod in his arms, covered in dust. She wanted to show Jiang Ning her superb wild fishing skills. Jiang Ning followed and watched. They came to the river. Under the afternoon sun, Zhu Yuantang fished for half a day and came up empty. She was so angry that she wanted to jump into the river to catch fish. Jiang Ning pulled her back and jumped into the river herself. She used her spiritual sense and spiritual power to catch 2 carps, a blackfish, and 3 crabs. Zhu Yuantang was so happy that she cut the fish and crabs peacefully. She cut the 3 crabs into 6 pieces. Zhu Yuantang, the chef, braised them. It was agreed that each person would get 3 pieces, but Zhu Yuantang ate 5 pieces by himself. After dinner, Jiang Ning moved to small stools and sat at the door of Zhu Yuantang's house, admiring the golden sunset in the sky. After a while, Zhu Yuantang washed the pots and bowls and sat down with his mobile phone. The two were very close. Seeing her poking and tapping the screen with her fingers, Jiang Ning asked, "What are you playing?" "I'm checking the class group." "Are you in the class group? Why don't you talk?" "Which class group?" "The second one." Zhu Yuantang said that there are 2 class groups in class 8 of grade 1, one with a class teacher and one without a class teacher. "No," Zhu Yuantang urged, "why don't you log into questions and have a look?" Jiang Ning took out his mobile phone and pressed it. The phone unlocked directly. There are not many fingerprint phones now. In his impression, the first popular fingerprint phone is the iPhone 5s, which was just released last month and should not be available now. The iPhone 5 does not have a fingerprint. Jiang Ning is used to facial recognition and fingerprint unlocking, and he is too lazy to set a password. After he logged into questions, several friend requests popped up, including Huang Zhangfei, Ma Shiqing, Jiuo Kunan and others. Jiang Ning agreed one by one. Huang Zhangfei was obviously online and immediately sent an invitation to join the group. After Jiang Ning joined the group, he found that there were exactly 52 people in it. He was the last one to join the group. Zheng Lu sent a message, "Welcome new students to the group." Someone followed with a few words of welcome. The group chat was in full swing, and many students were talking about their short vacation. Deng Qingfeng said he went to the water amusement park. Bai Yuxia went to the beach. Chen Qian went to Beizhou City, posted many photos, and told everyone that, if you have the chance in this life, you must go to Beizhou, otherwise you will regret it. The students who posted travel photos in the group are from well-off families. Many students from ordinary or even poor families often remain silent. They can't participate in such topics. Jiang Ning used to be one of them. He could only watch the students in the group post all kinds of photos of eating, drinking and having fun. He secretly envied them. He finally saved a little pocket money, which was only enough to go to the internet cafe to play 2 games, or buy a data refueling package, to be able to surf the internet for a while longer. Several people rushed to post pictures. Maybe they were just out of the desire to share, but it still made some students uncomfortable. Shan Keiquan posted sourly, "There are so many people during the short vacation. It must be crowded when going out to play. It feels more comfortable at home." This sentence resonated with many students. Jiuo Kunan posted several photos of the countryside, including the riverside, the township basketball court, and the newly built fitness facilities for the elderly in the village. "My family doesn't allow me to go, so I can only play at home." A classmate responded below, "It's similar to our village. We even showed a movie in the town square yesterday." The matter had passed like this, but Chen Qian suddenly at Shan Keiquan, "You haven't been out to play. How do you know about crowds? I suggest you go out more and see the world when you have time." Shan Keiquan heard a full sense of superiority and was immediately unhappy. He said toughly, "Why do you think I haven't been out to play? I may not have been to fewer places than you. Come on, which cities have you been to?" Chen Qian argued with him. Shan Keiquan said, "I have been to Nanxi." Chen Qian was relentless. "What a coincidence. I have been to Nanxi many times. What attractions are there in Nanxi, and what special snacks are there?" Shan Keiquan hurriedly went to Beidou to search. He had never been to Nanxi, so he could only go to Beidou to search. Chen Qian waited for a while and typed, "You're not going to Beidou, are you? Ha ha ha." Shan Keiquan was furious. If Chen Qian was in front of him, he would definitely punch him twice. "If you haven't been out to play, don't pretend. Country bumpkin," he mocked. When these words came out, not only Shan Kei-kun, but also many classmates with poor conditions felt offended. Shan Kei-kun did not baidu, and directly sprayed, "You are awesome. Don't you have too money in your family? It's not earned by you. Who do you think you are? I'm the eldest in my family." Chen Kan replied. The two quarreled in the group like this, and the others stopped chatting and watched them quarrel. Shan Kei-kun said he wanted to make an appointment for a fight. Chen Kan was of medium height and thin, so it was not difficult for Shan Kei-kun to beat him. Chen Kan did not agree to the fight and directly attacked Shan Kei-kun's personal qualities. At the beginning, perhaps out of consideration for classmates, the two quarreled in a civilized manner. Chen Kan suppressed Shan Kei-kun and belittled him, gaining an absolute upper hand. Later, the quarrel became angry and turned into a war of words. As the two quarreled more and more dirty, the situation changed. All kinds of dirty words and no logic. Shan Kei-kun became more and more skilled in scolding. Pull the enemy's IQ to the same level, and then defeat him with rich experience. What about music drifting hearse? Shan Kei-kun criticized Chen Kan's ancestors for being worse than pigs and dogs, and he completely took the upper hand. Huang Zhangfei, the monitor, was the group leader. He couldn't stand it anymore, so he had to silence the two. Zhu Yuantang was watching with great interest. The intensity of the quarrel between the two opened her eyes. Without the quarrel between the two, the group suddenly became quiet, and it couldn't help but feel a little lonely. Hu Jun, the life committee member, stood up and posted a picture of an insect. "This is the old buffalo I caught. Let's see how it looks." The picture shows a black cylindrical insect with spots on the shell and long antennae. Jiuo Kanon commented, "It's okay. It's a relatively rare old buffalo in this season." Hu Jun replied with a few grinning expressions. He felt recognized. It turned out that there were people in the class who liked these strange creatures like him. He decided to post more of his own treasures in the future. Huang Zhangfei waited for a while and saw that the chat in the class group had resumed normal, so he prepared to unban the two. At this time, a private message came over. "Class monitor, Shan Kei-kun is not a good person. Can you kick him out?" The person who sent the message was Chen Kan. Huang Zhangfei felt that Chen Kan had gone too far. Quarrels are quarrels, but how can you kick someone out? We are all classmates in the same class. If we kick people out of the class group, how can we get along in the future? Seeing that Huang Zhangfei did not reply, Chen Kan thought he was considering it and continued to send messages. "Shan Kei-kun will only affect the harmony of the class group. We were just posting pictures happily, and he jumped out to make trouble. How can we communicate happily in the future?" Huang Zhangfei looked through the message that Shan Kei-kun sent at first and found that it was not too much. He replied, "Okay, Chen Kan, let's talk about it later." Zhu Yuantang browsed her phone for a while and thought of something. She looked over. "Jiang Ning, what places with beautiful scenery have you been to? I will read it again today. Thank you everyone." Chapter 64, Mountain of People. Where have you been? Jiang Ning thought carefully. If it was just the present world, he had not been to many places. During the summer vacation in the 5th grade of elementary school, he went to Wencheng, Dongjiang province, the city where his parents worked, and played there for a summer vacation. He came back to continue studying in the town. It was not until this year that he came to Yazhou to study in high school. Funny to say, although Jiang Ning is from Yazhou, it was his first time to step into the urban area of Yazhou. Then he stayed in Yazhou for 3 years and never went out to travel during this period. There were several times when Shen Qinj went out to travel with her cousin and others, and Jiang Ning wanted to see the world, but he had no money to travel. He was already staying in someone else's house and was despised by others. How could he go and ask others to spend money? As early as the first year of high school, Jiang Ning thought about moving out of his uncle's house and living in the number 4 middle school. Only when you really experience it, you will know how complicated it is to live with relatives. But at that time, he was only a teenager of 15 or 16 years old, without the ability to be independent, and his parents did not agree. They wanted Jiang Ning to have a better living environment, and his uncle kept him many times, so Jiang Ning had not been able to move out. Many things, looking back many years later, are actually just simple little things, but only when you are at that age, you will understand their complexity and complexity. Later, I could see clearly, because I grew up. This time when he came back, he and his parents decided to move out of his uncle's house in a few words, and they were not even dissuaded. After graduating from high school in his previous life, Jiang Ning was admitted to a second-tier university in Huaicheng. After 4 years of college, he had a living expense of 1,000 yuan a month, which was enough to eat, but there was no money for travel, so he could only walk around the urban area of Huaicheng, visit parks, and climb mountains. That was the end of college. After graduation, he took 1,000 yuan and went to Nanxi, hoping to earn 5,000 yuan a month, but the basic salary was 2,000 yuan. He returned to Yuzhou again and relied on the relationship during the internship to get a job and move up a little bit. Later, he changed jobs several times, but he always cycled through several cities. Wencheng, Yuzhou, Anxi, Nanxi, Kaohsiung. These are all the cities Jiang Ning has been to. Even compared with the current classmates in class 8, he is far inferior to Baiyuxia, Chen Kan and others, who go out to travel every year. He looked at Zhu Yuantang and said self-deprecatingly, I went to Wencheng once, when I was a child, and then I stayed in the town all the time. Jiang Ning remembered that when he was working, he heard his colleagues discussing which internet celebrity city was fun. Because of his poverty, he could not fit in at all. Wencheng? I know. Is it close to the sea? Have you seen the sea? Zhu Yuantang leaned close to her body, her eyes sparkling. She had never seen the sea. Yes. Jiang Ning said. Is the real sea blue and beautiful? Zhu Yuantang asked curiously. No, the sea is yellow. Jiang Ning said. Zhu Yuantang's fantasy was shattered. She pouted and said unhappily, you are lying. I'm not lying to you. Really? Jiang Ning went to the beach twice with her parents, but there was nothing fun to do there. The environment was not as good as the Hushu River. Zhu Yuantang was still skeptical. She decided that, when she grew up, she must go to see the sea with her own eyes. If Jiang Ning dared to lie to her, she promised to teach him a lesson. Is there any fun place in Wencheng? Zhu Yuantang continued to ask. She had never left Yuzhou since she was a child and was very curious about the outside world. Yes, there is a mountain in Wencheng called Rintao Mountain. The top of the mountain looks like a human head. Jiang Ning gestured. Many people were bored and squatted at the foot of the mountain all day, studying how to climb up. The mountain was almost 90 degrees and very difficult to climb. Many people broke their legs. Then one day, a tourist really climbed up, but couldn't get down. Zhu Yuantang asked, they were so stupid, what happened next? Then a dragon appeared and ate the tourists. It turned out that the mountain was the dragon's castle. Jiang Ning, you lied to me again. Zhu Yuantang stared angrily. Well, then the tourist was hungry on the mountain for 2 days, and a helicopter flew up and rescued him. Wow. I haven't seen a helicopter yet. Jiang Ning, can you fly a helicopter? No. Then can you drive a tractor? No. Zhu Yuantang said, I can. Blow. Keep blowing. Aunt Gu said you were scared and cried the first time you rode a tractor, crying and shouting that you wanted to jump off. Zhu Yuantang gritted his teeth. Damn it, why does my mother always betray me? The afternoon of the last day of the short holiday. The house was filled with fragrance, and Jiang Ning sat cross-legged on the bed with his eyes closed. He was practicing the golden mysterious spirit division technique, with his invisible spiritual consciousness scattered all over his body. A stinging pain came from his forehead, but for Jiang Ning, this little pain was nothing. His spiritual consciousness was like waves blown by the wind, swaying gently, and suddenly a strong wind blew, blowing the wave-like spiritual consciousness away at a rapid speed. 10 meters, 20 meters, 30 meters, 50 meters, until 100 meters away, it barely stopped. Then Jiang Ning's mind moved, like a whale sucking water, and all the outgoing spiritual consciousness was taken back. Jiang Ning opened his eyes, and a look of joy appeared on his face. His spiritual consciousness was several times stronger than before. It could only cover a radius of 30 meters, but now it has reached a distance of 100 meters. Now his cultivation is at the second level of key training. but his spiritual consciousness strength has caught up with the 4th level of key training. The main function of spiritual consciousness is similar to radar, which can detect the surrounding situation. With his current spiritual consciousness strength, it is enough to capture the trajectory of several bullets at the same time. With the physique of divine thunder quenching, it is difficult for a pistol to hit him. However, if he were in a modern battlefield, he would still be shot and killed by countless stray bullets. It is still impossible to act in a big way. Jiang Ning looked calm. At least he needs to break through the foundation building realm. By then, the range of spiritual consciousness will start from 5 miles, flying in the air, and there will be countless spells to rely on. Generally, when a shell rushes into his spiritual consciousness range, he has at least 1 second to react, so he doesn't need to be afraid. Jiang Ning set a small goal for himself, to break through the foundation building realm. As long as he became a foundation building cultivator, he would no longer need to hide in this world, and one person is an army. Jiang Ning experienced the joy of the breakthrough of his spiritual consciousness, and then he withdrew his thoughts and took out a piece of blue jade the size of an egg. This was the jade material bought from Xiao Xuanshang's shop, used to make a body protecting jade pendant. Seeing the jade pendant, he thought of Xiao Xuanshang. Didn't this little girl use the chanking liquid? Otherwise, why didn't she come to him after 6 or 7 days? Jiang Ning felt strange. He was going to wait for Xiao Xuanshang to come and have a good chat with her about the pharmaceutical business. If you want to break through the foundation quickly, you must use the spiritual energy formation. Wait a little longer, he thought. If you can't talk it out naturally, Jiang Ning doesn't mind using some special means. Jiang Ning fumbled with the jade, which was a little cold. He threw the jade into the air and ejected a green sword energy. The sharp sword energy instantly cut through the hard jade material. The egg-sized jade material was cut into 4 pieces. 3 pieces of jade fell into the silk cloth, leaving only 1 piece suspended in the air. His spiritual sense covered the jade and felt the lines of the jade. Then Jiang Ning pinched out colorful spiritual lights and shot them at the jade. Each spiritual light corresponded to a mark engraved into the jade. The marks were connected and supported each other, like a precise mathematical equation. At the same time, the shape of the jade changed, and the fallen waste fell from the air. Inside the jade, a spiritual formation was gradually constructed. Chapter 65, Love Gift. Spiritual formation masters are a popular profession in the world of immortal cultivation. Especially when a war breaks out, they are indispensable. If used properly, they can break the protective formation of the hostile forces without much cost. Sometimes, a formation master is more useful than a giant and Zenran. When Jiang Ning broke through the Yuanying realm and stabilized his realm, he asked the formation master of the sect for knowledge of formations and benefited a lot. The spiritual formation on the jade piece was successfully engraved, and the next step was to perform the small distraction technique. Jiang Ning gathered all his spiritual consciousness at once, and the invisible spiritual consciousness condensed into a ball. He urged his spiritual consciousness and hit the jade pendant hard. At the same time, he mobilized the formation of the jade pendant. The spiritual consciousness hit the jade pendant formation, as if it hit a whirlpool, and suddenly stagnated. After staying for a few seconds, the spiritual consciousness suddenly retreated. Jiang Ning felt dizzy between his eyebrows, and then looked at the jade pendant. There was a small red cloud symbol on the lower right corner. Seeing the cloud, Jiang Ning felt a sense of familiarity. It was the symbol of the Loan sect. The sect accepted Jiang Ning, gave him the strongest skills, and gave him the best cultivation resources. When he was just at the foundation building stage, the Yuanying Supreme Elder in the sect gave him the Yuanying Talisman. The giant and elders of the sect went out in batches to personally find spiritual objects for him. Heavenly spiritual roots are indeed treated preferentially, but not every heavenly spiritual root can become a Yuanying cultivator, let alone a Yuanying great perfection cultivator. Without the cultivation of the sect, Jiang Ning might not be able to reach that step. Jiang Ning has never forgotten the kindness of the sect. The body protecting jade pendant is light blue, with veins carved on the surface. The most eye-catching thing is the red cloud in the lower right corner, like a finishing touch. And this cloud contains a trace of spiritual consciousness, which plays a role of sensing danger and activating the spirit formation. The Zeuxan world has a complete set of comprehensive emergency and risk avoidance regulations. Jiang Ning has just implanted those regulations into the cloud symbol through the small distraction method. As long as the symbol senses a similar dangerous situation, it will automatically activate the spiritual array to avoid danger for the wearer. Jiang Ning touched the jade pendant and felt warm. He shot a flame, surrounded the surroundings, and raised the temperature of the room. When he touched the jade pendant again, he felt a slight chill. He engraved a temperature control array in the spiritual array. This jade pendant only needs to consume a little spiritual power to change the temperature of the jade pendant itself. It can be said to be a jade that is warm in winter and cool in summer. It is very comfortable to wear. Jiang Ning injected a little spiritual power into the jade pendant, put on the rope, and hung the jade pendant on the door beam. The jade pendant was suspended in the air and swayed gently. Jiang Ning picked up the fruit knife on the table and threw it at the jade pendant. The knife was very fast and could easily pierce the human body. However, when it was about to touch the jade pendant trembled slightly, and the spiritual array was activated. The fruit knife seemed to hit a wall of air head-on and bounced out. Jiang Ning grabbed the fruit knife with his spiritual power and placed it on the bedside. This was the knife Zhu Yuantang used to peel apples, but he had forgotten it here. He waved his hand gently, and the jade pendant flew to his palm. The effect is not bad. Next, we just need to fill the formation with enough spiritual power, and then all the dangers encountered in life can be avoided. The jade pendant's spiritual formation looks small, but it can actually accommodate a lot of spiritual power. With Jiang Ning's current spiritual power reserve, it needs to be filled 3 times before it can be filled. He looked at the other 3 jade pieces and began to construct the spiritual formation to make the protective jade pendant. It was not until the sun was about to set that he made all the jade pendants. There were a total of 4 jade pendants, arranged in order. Regarding the distribution of the protective jade pendants, Jiang Ning has determined the approximate candidates, 1 for each of my parents, and 1 for Zhu Yuantang. There is 1 left, who should I give it to? While Jiang Ning was thinking, there was movement at the door, and footsteps gradually approached. Zhu Yuantang came. Jiang Ning, it's time to eat, hurry up. Okay. 15 minutes before the evening self-study class, Jiang Ning walked into the classroom. The class was almost full. Jiang Ning walked to his seat. Zhenglu shook the tissue. Jiang Ning, I have wiped your desk and stool for you. Tell me, how do you thank me? Buy you a cup of milk tea. Jiang Ning said. In fact, cleaning the seat was just a matter of spiritual power for him. Hearing that Jiang Ning really wanted to buy her something, Zhenglu felt a little embarrassed. No, I just wiped it for you. Ma Shichen looked at Zhenglu with a sidelong look. He wanted to laugh but was melancholy, laughing because Zhenglu wiped Jiang Ning's seat first, and then wiped her own desk. What does this show? With Ma Shichen's wit, of course he could see that Zhenglu was interested in Jiang Ning. Although he had never been in love, he thought he understood feelings better than anyone else, and had a strong logical ability, and could infer the relationship between 2 people based on clues. He was sad, because Zhenglu was pretty, and she was interested in Jiang Ning, but he was still guessing, and felt like a dog. Ma Shichen was planning to ask about the situation, but he suddenly felt bored. Forget it, it had nothing to do with him. Ma Shichen glanced at the classroom. He was disappointed with Zhenglu and Yang Sheng, both of whom were vulgar girls. He planned to build a good relationship with Shen Qinj and Beiyuxia. Do you want to add them through the class group? Should I add 1 or 2? What if both of them agree? Who should I talk to? Ma Shichen thought a lot, and a smile appeared on his lips, as if he imagined a beautiful future. Before class, he ran to Jiuo Kunan and patted him on the shoulder. Brother Nan, which girls in our class did you add? Jiuo Kunan was playing a game, operating it with great concentration. He was startled by Ma Shichen, and his hand shook, and the game character fell into a pit and died. Fuck, I almost broke the record. Jiuo Kunan's heart was bleeding. What game are you playing? Ma Shichen asked him, and it looked very fun. This is Xianshan Cool Run, a newly released game. Very fun, and you can also see the ranking of questions friends. I'm ranked 3rd among my friends. If you hadn't affected my operation just now, I would have directly jumped to 2nd place. Jiuo Kunan turned into a game braggart. In previous games, adding friends required searching and adding them one by one, but in Jiang Cool Run, you can directly log in with questions and see the ranking of friends. It's really convenient. Ma Shichen was immediately interested when he heard Jiuo Kunan praise the game. He immediately forgot about the female classmates. Send me a copy of the game. Okay, open Courier and I'll send it to you directly. Courier is a transmission software. In this era of Bluetooth transmission, Courier uses hotspot Wi-Fi transmission, which is very fast. Shan Kaikun, who was standing next to him, saw it and also shouted to send a copy. The three of them were addicted to the competition of Xianshan Qpao. The first class of the evening self-study class was a self-study class. The three of them played the whole class. Ma Shichen loved playing games and had some talent. He quickly rushed to the first place in his leaderboard. After class, he went to Jiuo Kunan to show off. What place am I in yours? Jiuo Kunan felt embarrassed. He was the one who got Ma Shichen into this game. He was considered a senior, but he watched Ma Shichen surpass him. You are third in my place, he said with a sullen face. Who are the first and second? Yang Sheng, the other one is a junior high school classmate. Ma Shichen was incredulous. Yang Sheng also plays games? Not only Yang Sheng, but Zhenglu also plays. She just gave me some love. After playing a few games of Xianshan Qpao, you will run out of energy. You need others to give you love before you can start another game. If no one gives you love, you can only recharge your money to buy it or wait for time to restore your love. So love is very important in the game. Ma Shichen is a freeloader, so of course he won't recharge, but he wants to continue playing the game. As a master of surfing the internet, a few hearts are naturally not a problem for Ma Shichen. He opened questions and searched for the Xianshan Qpao love gifting group. Halfway through the search, he suddenly had an idea. Why should I join the group? Isn't this a good opportunity to go to the girls' questions after overtime? Apostrophe. Chapter 66. Hand tearing. Zhenglu held up her phone and placed it in front of Jiang Ning. Do you play Xianshan Qpao? Can you help me run a score? You boys must be good at playing games. Jiang Ning had played this game before and his skills were okay. Now he couldn't help but feel itchy. Okay, I'll try. He took Zhenglu's phone and took a look. The screen was a whole circle larger than his iPhone 5. Oppo's Find 5 is also a popular model. Before Jiang Ning started the game, he released his spiritual sense. Within 100 meters, any teacher's slightest movement would not be hidden from his attention. He clicked on a game and started to play. This round lasted until the bell rang. Zhenglu was frightened and worried for Jiang Ning. She had played Xianshan Qpao herself. It was okay at the beginning, but it was too reactive at the end and she couldn't run at all. Several times she thought Jiang Ning was gone, but Jiang Ning always managed to move forward with his superb operation. Jiang Ning didn't want to play anymore. He was tired of it. It was not challenging at all. He put his phone on the table, and the game character lost control and fell into the pit in an instant. The game page calculated a super high score, and Zhenglu was full of admiration. Jiang Ning returned the phone to her and reminded her, don't play with your phone yet, the class teacher is coming. The figure of the class teacher appeared in his consciousness. Zhenglu wondered why Jiang Ning knew, but she believed in Jiang Ning and obediently put the phone away. Ma Shichen came back with a smile on his face. He had just added several girls' questions, such as Chen Xiao and others, who were pretty girls in the class. He wanted to add Yang Sheng, but thought about it and didn't. To deal with the game girl, you have to defeat her at what she is best at. When his everyday cool run becomes the first in the class, then he can add Yang Sheng as a friend as a strong man. Although he had a conflict with Yang Sheng that day, Yang Sheng's gaming skills were greatly recognized by Ma Shichen. If Yang Sheng's score was 8 before, it has now jumped directly to 9.9. Little Yang Sheng, I will conquer you sooner or later. Ma Shichen was arrogant and boundless. When it comes to gaming skills, he is always one of the best. He opened the game rankings and prepared to send love and energy to several new friends. Jiang Ning touched him. Put away your phone, the class teacher is here. Ma Shichen put away his phone like a mouse seeing a cat and stared at the door vigilantly. The next second, Shan Qingrong stepped into the classroom, his sharp eyes swept across the whole place, and the noisy sounds in the classroom disappeared in pieces. Then, Shan Qingrong walked straight to the corner of the class. This corner was called the dark corner by the boys in class 8, because the composition of the students was so strange. The double desk was attached to the left wall. Myo Zhe sat against the window by the wall. His deskmate was a very thin and ugly girl. There were 2 girls sitting at the table in front, and at the same table. They were ugly and hard to describe. Some boys joked privately that Myo Zhe was sandwiched by 5 ugly girls and his luck was simply against the sky. CUIU even said that, if he sat in that position, he would definitely shorten his life. Normally, when Myo Zhe had conflicts with others, someone would always use that position to mock him and ask him if he had a special taste. In high school, students are far less tactful than adults, and ugly people are often talked about behind their backs. Shan Qingrong stood in the aisle next to the dark corner and stretched out his hand. Take it out. Myo Zhe looked at him and said nothing. Shan Qingrong frowned and shouted, take it out. His tone was already a little angry. Myo Zhe's mouth twitched, and he handed over his phone honestly. Come to me before the holiday. Shan Qingrong walked to the podium and looked at the students in the class. If anyone plays with their phone in class in the future, this will be the result, if I see it. After hearing this, several boys in the back row were scared for 3 seconds, and then they didn't care. They believed that they would not be caught. After Shan Qingrong said a few words, he asked Tuang Zhengfei to take charge of discipline and left the class. Ma Shichen gloated, that idiot, he dared to play with his phone while sitting by the window. He deserved to be arrested. Because of Myo Zhe's usual behavior, no one in the class felt sorry for him. CUIU and Wang Lang burst into laughter. Myo Zhe sat in his seat with a gloomy face, not saying a word, with a ball of anger in his heart. The class was quiet for a while, and then the sound of chatting was heard everywhere. After returning from the short vacation, the students could not calm down to study at all. Huang Zhengfei reminded them a few times, but found it useless, so he told everyone that they could chat, but the voices should be lowered. Myo Zhe's desk in front of him was a dark and fat girl with pock marks on her face. She turned her head and chatted with Myo Zhe's deskmate. Myo Zhe knew that the girl's name was Pang Jiao. She was indeed delicate, but ugly. When Pang Jiao chatted, she occasionally laughed. The rough voice matched the dark face and the bad taste in her mouth. Myo Zhe almost suffocated. Why did God torture him like this? Pang Jiao took a small mirror and secretly put something on her face. She asked Myo Zhe's deskmate Wang Yan'an, do you think I have lost weight during this holiday? Myo Zhe thought to himself, you are a black pig. Wang Yan'an praised, I think you have lost weight, a lot. Pang Jiao was very happy to hear that. She really thought she had lost weight. Wang Yan'an said, oh, Jiao, you have good facial features. You will definitely look good after losing weight. Myo Zhe next to her was disgusted. Pang Jiao's big face would make her ugly, even if she lost weight. Pang Jiao also thought she had great potential. She believed it. Hey, when I lose weight, I will definitely find a boyfriend. She put her hand on the edge of Myo Zhe's desk. Myo Zhe looked at her fingers and his eyes twitched. What kind of fingers were those? They were as thick and short as pig's trotters, and there were obvious black hairs on them. Myo Zhe's eyelids twitched. Yang Iron, I think you are very beautiful. There must be someone chasing you in high school. Pang Jiao praised Wang Yan'an. Myo Zhe almost vomited. Wang Yan'an had a crooked mouth and her eyes were far apart. She looked very strange. Even if Wang Yan'an chased him, he would dislike it. Yang Iron, I tell you, if someone chases you in the future, don't agree easily. You must choose more and find a handsome boy as your boyfriend. Why do you want to find a handsome one? Because if you find a handsome boy, you will feel comfortable and eat well with him when you eat. Ha ha ha. Pang Jiao laughed with her mouth wide open, thinking she was humorous, and a monster-like laugh came out. The strange smell she exhaled smoked Myo Zhe's face. Myo Zhe's heart was filled with anger. His phone had just been taken away, and he couldn't restrain himself when he saw this scene. He was impulsive. Mao Zhe asked abruptly. Pang Jiao, have you ever thought about your boyfriend's feelings? Don't you think about whether he can eat when he sees your face? The cheerful atmosphere suddenly stagnated and then became irritable again. Ma Shichen was playing with his phone, challenging himself to get a better score when he suddenly heard a noise. Fighting. Fighting. Mao Zhe and Pang Jiao are fighting. Cuiu was excited. Boys and girls fighting. He hadn't seen such a scene since elementary school. Oh my god, Pang Jiao is so fierce. Hu Jun said in shock. Pang Jiao is 1.65 meters tall and weighs 160 kilograms. Mao Zhe is a little taller than her, but weighs no more than 100 kilograms. Although there is a huge difference in strength between men and women, Pang Jiao relied on her weight and used a pair of sharp claws to scratch around and actually suppressed Mao Zhe. However, Mao Zhe had no martial ethics in fighting. He didn't care that the other party was a girl. He pulled Pang Jiao's hair and yanked it hard and scratched Pang Jiao's face with one claw. The two of them fought more and more fiercely and finally wrestled together. Ma Shichen was stunned and felt bad. Will they get into trouble if they keep fighting like this? Class monitor Huang Zhengfei ran over to persuade him. Stop fighting. Stop fighting. The two of them scratched him, ignoring him and not listening at all. Huang Zhengfei was embarrassed standing by. One of them was a girl, and he couldn't go up to stop the fight. He looked at Bai Yuxia. Bai Yuxia was also helpless. It was useless for Huang Zhengfei to say anything, and it would definitely be useless for her to say anything. As for going up to stop the fight, she was not an idiot. Why would she go up at this time? She had heard about Mao Zhe's temperament. 1 month after school started, most of the boys in the class hated him. Mao Zhe was narrow-minded and aggressive, which was the consensus of everyone. If she went up to stop him, she would most likely be injured by mistake. Bai Yuxia subconsciously looked at Jiang Ning, hoping that he would stand up again. Chapter 67 Shadow. Jiang Ning naturally noticed Bai Yuxia's gaze, but what did it have to do with him? He quietly watched his classmates fighting. The window on Jiang Ning's side connected to the wide campus. The bright lights in the classroom formed a sharp contrast with the dark campus outside with only sporadic street lights. Pang Jiao and Mao Zhe fought fiercely and loudly, like two giant groundhogs, standing upright with their legs and scratching their claws quickly. They fought from their seats to the aisle and then wrestled all the way to the open space behind the classroom, like two martial arts masters, turning and moving. The sudden chaos opened the eyes of the classmates in the class. This matter was really difficult to handle. No one wanted to show up. The two of them scratched randomly, like crazy. Whoever went up would be scratched. Huang Zhengfei felt so tired. He couldn't remember how many times it had happened. Never once did his classmates listen to his dissuasion. It's so hard to be a class monitor. Zhenglu covered her mouth, stared with wide eyes, watching the fierce fight. Ma Shichen stood up, leaned back against his seat, and said with certainty, I bet a bottle of coke that Pang Jiao wins. Jiuo Kunan next to him had a different opinion. Although Pang Jiao now had an advantage with her weight, she was a girl after all, and her physical strength was not as good as Mao Zhe. As time went on, her offensive would inevitably weaken. I'm optimistic about Mao Zhe. A bottle of coke. Jiuo Kunan made a final conclusion. The life committee member Hu Jun said, I guess both sides will suffer. I bet a bottle of Red Bull on the coke of both of you. Ma Shichen and Jiuo Kunan scolded him together. Get out, aren't you talking nonsense? It's definitely a loss for both sides. Cuiu said, good fight. If he didn't think it was too immoral, he would even want to applaud and let the two fight harder. Bai Yuxia in the front row saw Jiang Ning's indifferent look and was secretly annoyed. It was clear that if he just said one word, the two would definitely not dare to fight, but he just didn't say it. He had no sense of class honor at all. Chen Siqing looked at the figures fighting behind her, and her mouth opened slightly in shock. She was the elder sister, and her younger sister went to her class today. She had heard from her sister that there were often fights in class 8, but this was the first time she had seen it. Were both male and female students so martial? It wasn't like there were fights in their class, but they never happened during class time. Unlike class 8, they started fighting right away during evening self-study. Yang Sheng sat on the table, chewing gum. The two of them wouldn't fight at all. If she had gone in, she would have made sure one of them would cry for his parents. Wang Lang stood in his seat, looking at the two people fighting behind him, and then at Wang Zhangfei, who was helpless. A hint of contempt appeared on his round face. The monitor of Class 8 is nothing special. When the time comes, I, Wang Lang, will still be the one to come to the rescue. He held the keypad machine, as if he were holding an emperor's scepter. Wang Lang sent a text message to Shan Qingrong, head teacher. It's bad. Pang Jiao and Mao Zhe from our class are fighting. It's so intense. Their clothes are torn. The classmates in the class don't dare to go up to stop the fight. Head teacher, please come quickly. The last time he and Mao Zhe had a fight, he was caught by Shan Qingrong and was beaten up in the office. Fortunately, he explained the reason clearly and admitted his fault very sincerely, so Shan Qingrong did not pursue it. After Mao Zhe left, Wang Lang still stayed in the office. He took the initiative to ask the head teacher if he could do something for the class. Wang Lang wanted to be a class cadre so much that he didn't dare to run for the position in front of the whole class, so he could only look for one in private. Fortunately, Shan Qingrong appreciated him, thought about it for a while, and told him that he could send a text message to him directly if there were any big or small things happening in the class in the future. Wang Lang was immediately full of energy. He would be Shan Qingrong's eyes in Class 8 in the future. After sending the text message, Wang Lang suddenly had a sense of standing on the top of the mountain, looking down on all the mountains. I can do what squad leader Huang Zhangfei can do, and I can also do what he can't do. He is the light of the day, and I'm the shadow of the night. Where I, Wang Lang, am, the justice of Class 8 will last forever. Since no one has stepped forward to stop the fight, and fighting is physically demanding, fighting is even more exhausting for untrained ordinary people, and it is more tiring than a 100-meter sprint. In less than 2 minutes, Mao Zhe and Pang Jiao were too tired to fight anymore, and they were unwilling to let go of each other. If it weren't for the hideous bloodstains on their faces and necks, they really looked like a couple in love. Fight. Why don't you fight? Shan Kaikun was eating melon seeds, looking relaxed and at ease. Mao Zhe stared at Shan Kaikun coldly, and Shan Kaikun gave some melon seeds to Jiuo Kunan. Little thing, what are you looking at? Shan Kaikun didn't dare to be afraid of him at all. Mao Zhe let go of his hand, and Pang Jiao also let go. Mao Zhe turned around and left the classroom. Pang Jiao returned to her seat. Wang Yanan quickly took out the tissue paper from the table hole and handed it to her, asking her to wipe her face. Usually, Wang Yanan never put tissue paper on the table, because if she put it there, it would be quickly taken out by classmates. A pack of tissue paper costs 2 yuan. She was reluctant to spend it, but seeing Pang Jiao injured like this, she would definitely not be stingy. Pang Jiao felt the burning pain after the fight. She wiped her face with tissue paper, and it was all blood. Wang Yanan worriedly said, "Why don't you go to the infirmary?" After speaking, the head teacher Shan Qingrong walked in quickly. Shan Qingrong was also annoyed. He had just returned to the office, poured a cup of tea and read the newspaper. Before he could even warm up his butt, he received a text message from Wang Lang saying that something happened in the class. Shan Qingrong was ready to punish his classmates, but when he saw the bloodstain on Pang Jiao's face, he frowned. "What are you standing there for? Why don't you go to the campus clinic?" He asked his classmates, "Where is Mao Zhe?" Huang Zhangfei said, "I don't know. He left after the fight." Shan Qingrong picked up his phone to call Mao Zhe. Just as he found the number, he suddenly remembered that he had taken Mao Zhe's phone away. Shan Qingrong put the phone back in a sullen manner. "When Mao Zhe comes back, tell him to go to the office and wait for me. I just scolded Mao Zhe before the holiday, and he got into trouble again, fighting with a girl. He really has grown a skill." "Pang Jiao, what are you still standing there for? Come with me to the school clinic." Shan Qingrong led Pang Jiao away. The class was silent for a while, and then the discussion started again. The disturbance caused by the fight continued to be discussed by the classmates until the end of the evening self-study. When the bell rang for the evening self-study, Jiuo Kunan and Shan Kaikun ran out in an instant. Jiang Ning knew that they were running so fast because they were going to buy food outside the school. High school students are in the period of growth, with big appetites. Eating 3 meals a day is not enough. The evening self-study at number 4 middle school lasts until 9:30, and they are already hungry. If they don't eat something at night, their stomachs will be empty. If they run faster, they can save the trouble of queuing. After buying food and returning to the dormitory, they can play games for a while longer. Jiang Ning walked to the place where the mountain bike was parked, and Zhu Yuantang followed him habitually. The two had already reached a tacit understanding. When they arrived at the door of the house, Zhu Yuantang jumped out of the back seat with skillful and handsome movements. "Wait a minute," Jiang Ning called her. He took out a small box and handed it to Zhu Yuantang. The last time Zhu Yuantang gave him a cup, it seemed to be the same scene. Jiang Ning said, "I carved a jade pendant for you." Zhu Yuantang looked at Jiang Ning suspiciously. Jiang Ning reminded him, "Wear it every day in the future, and it's best not to take it off. This is a spiritual power body protection jade pendant." Although he is often with Zhu Yuantang, he is not with him all the time. With this jade pendant, Zhu Yuantang can be protected from accidents. "Don't look at it, take it." "Yes, I'll take it, because you are so sincere." Zhu Yuantang entered the house with the box. Then he stood by the bed in a daze, and suddenly he dived into the bed and covered his head with the soft quilt. After a while, the slender and white legs were raised, and the little pink shoes were shaking gently. "Thank you." Zinran smiled. His beautiful thief book friend 202204120950308887. Quote, "You don't know them, fathead fish with a sword. Femoral wall orders are not followed and are not happy, book friend." 202205121459111239. Quote, "All I think of is early summer Mo Yangjiu, who thank you for your rewards these days." Chapter 68 Agent's Thoughts. Early in the morning, Yazhao, Kahuayufu, Unit 1, Building 5, heard an extremely excited shout. "I got it, I got it, I got it." Xiao Wenchen stared at himself in the mirror, ecstatic, and black hair actually grew on his head. At this moment, Xiao Wenchen almost cried with joy. No one knows how much he has been teased because of his Mediterranean hairstyle. Those teasings were kind and malicious, but in his heart, there was only sadness. Now, he has hair. In the future, when he goes on a blind date, he will no longer have to endure the strange eyes of the woman. The first thing Xiao Wenchen is grateful for is this bottle of potion. He initially had an attitude of giving it a try. After applying it once, he actually grew hair. He was shocked beyond words. This is a magic medicine. The second person he wants to thank is his cousin Xiao Shuangshan. If it weren't for his cousin's strong request, he would never get this bottle of potion, and would never use it. Xiao Wenchen first called his leader to ask for leave, then put on his clothes and drove out. The first time he saw his cousin Xiao Shuangshan, Xiao Wenchen took off his hat and said, "Sister, I have hair. Look." Xiao Shuangshan was surprised to see him excited, and then said, "Okay, isn't it just hair? Look at you showing off." Since Xiao Shuangshan had tried it once before, and had already expected such a result, she was not that shocked. However, she was completely sure that the Changqing liquid given by Jiang Ning was so effective that it could actually make a bald man like her cousin grow hair, which showed its magical power. Xiao Wenchen asked her, "Do you still have the medicine? I think if I keep applying it, maybe my hair will grow back." He looked excited. He had symptoms of hair loss since college. At first, he didn't care. What's the big deal about hair loss? As a man who is afraid of baldness? As a result, after he started working, his hair was really bald. Xiao Wenchen was stunned. It was too unexpected. As a result, he looked like he was in his 30s or 40s when he was in his 20s. There must be medicine. Xiao Shuangshan pinched her chin. Jiang Ning could easily give her 2 bottles, which meant that there were a lot of medicines, and the price should not be expensive. She would just ask Jiang Ning to buy a few bottles. "I'll ask for you later," Xiao Wenchen urged. "Cousin, then hurry up. I'm waiting to use it." He has been losing his hair for many years, and he hasn't experienced the taste of long hair for a long time. Now he tried it once and fell in love with it instantly. Losing and regaining is the greatest luck. Love is like this, and hair is also like this. Or you can send me the address and I'll buy it. Xiao Wenjun's family is well off. He has worked for 2 years and saved more than 30,000 yuan. He can still afford some medicines. Xiao Shuangshan shook her head. You can't buy it. This is a gift from a friend. Xiao Wenjun was at a loss. He shamelessly said, sister, can you get me 2 more bottles? Xiao Shuangshan smiled and said teasingly, why, I gave you the medicine a few days ago, but you were reluctant. Now you want to use it? That's because I've used too many medicines before, and they didn't work at all. Who would have thought that the medicine you gave me, sister, is so effective? Sister, let me tell you, if this medicine is sold freely, there will definitely be people who will buy it, just like the group I usually hang out in. At this point, Xiao Wenjun felt a little embarrassed. It's the bald group. You know, my hair was almost falling out before, and I was desperate. I was thinking about finding someone to join forces. The group is full of bald patients like me. We often try various methods together, but the effects are all not very good. If this medicine is put in the group, it will definitely sell out. It doesn't matter if it's a little more expensive. There are many bald brothers in the group who charge hundreds of thousands to play an online game. Xiao Wenjun said excitedly. With his 24-year-old Mediterranean hairstyle, he got to the position of group administrator and knew everything about the group. Xiao Wenjun spoke very fast, which showed how excited he was. Xiao Shuangshan had worked as a nurse and a pawn shop owner and often communicated with people, so she quickly understood what Xiao Wenjun meant. Do you think this medicine is valuable? She asked. It's not a question of whether it is worth it or not. Let's put it this way, it's the degree to which everyone is rushing to buy it. Xiao Wenjun said firmly. He has been bald for several years and has used many folk remedies. He has never seen this kind of medicine that can make hair grow after washing your hair and applying it. It's simply amazing. After listening to her cousin's words, Xiao Shuangshan was a little confused. Since the effect of Changqing liquid is so good, why is it not famous at all? Even she herself has never heard of it. If she hadn't seen the before and after comparison pictures of Jiang Ning's cousin's baldness, and if she hadn't been really annoyed by hair loss some time ago, she would never use this 3-no medicine. There are many big guys in the bald group where her cousin is, but they still haven't heard of this medicine. It can be seen that Changqing liquid is probably only circulated in a very small range. Xiao Shuangshan felt something was amiss, as if she had overlooked something. She didn't think about it any further, but suddenly had an idea. Wenjun, if I'm the agent for the sales rights of this medicine, can I make money? Xiao Wenjun said without a doubt. If you can promote the medicine, you will be the richest man in Yazhou in less than 2 years. The number of bald people in the country has already exceeded 100 million. If you want to cure baldness, there are almost no effective methods except surgical hair transplantation. Once this kind of magic medicine comes out, I don't know how many bald patients will be excited. For example, Xiao Wenjun now has a blind faith in this medicine. Seeing Xiao Shuangshan's dazed expression, Xiao Wenjun asked tentatively, sister, do you have a way? Xiao Shuangshan didn't answer. The morning self-study, Jiang Ning was reading a book. Before the holiday, Chinese teacher Dai Yangquan assigned the classical Chinese text Zhu Ziwu retreats the Qin army and required students to recite the entire text. He said that he would randomly check students' recitation during class, and students who could not recite it would stand to listen to the class. Ma Shiqing, who always liked to play with his mobile phone during the morning self-study, also recited the text honestly. He was still a little short of the half, and he finished it in one morning self-study. Zheng Lu turned around with the book. Jiang Ning, can you recite it? Yes. Jiang Ning had learned this text before, and now he was strong in memory. He read it twice, and recited it without any problem. Ma Shiqing glanced at him. He admired Jiang Ning in other aspects, but he was not convinced by Jiang Ning's recitation, because he had never seen Jiang Ning recite it. Zheng Lu suggested, then I will recite it to you, and you can check for mistakes for me. Okay, you recite it. Jiang Ning nodded. Compared with reciting and checking alone, it would be more accurate to have others listening, and he could simulate the scene of reciting to the teacher in advance. Zhenglu stumbled as she recited, making several mistakes and missing 2 sentences. Jiang Ning pointed them out to her. Ma Shichen commented, "Zhenglu, you're not good at reciting this." Zhenglu counterattacked, "Can you recite it?" Ma Shichen was confident, "I promise I can recite it before the end of the morning self-study." Jiang Ning's external consciousness detected something unusual, and he said, "I don't think you can finish reciting it." Ma Shichen was dissatisfied. "Do you think you underestimate me?" He was very clear about his learning ability, and there was still half an hour before the end of the morning self-study, so he would definitely be able to recite it. Ma Shichen was about to refute when the head teacher Shan Qingrang suddenly walked into the class and said to everyone, "Okay, stop for a moment, let's have a class meeting." The class meeting lasted until the last 3 minutes of the morning self-study. Shan Qingrang informed everyone that there would be a monthly test in the middle of this month, and that the seats would be adjusted at that time. He also said that, if anyone fights again in the future, he will directly ask the parents to come over. After Shan Qingrang left, Ma Shichen's face fell, and he threw the textbook away. Zhenglu asked him, "You don't want to recite anymore?" Ma Shichen said nonchalantly, "What's there to be afraid of? The Chinese teacher will definitely not pick me to recite." If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 69 Control. After the morning self-study, Jiang Ning was going to the cafeteria to have breakfast when his phone suddenly vibrated. He opened it and saw a message from Xiao Shuangshan. "Does your cousin still have Changqing liquid? I think it's very useful, and I want to buy a few bottles." Jiang Ning replied, "No more." Xiao Shuangshan frowned. "But I have it." Jiang Ning, "You have it?" Xiao Shuangshan looked at the phone with a strange look on his face. Did his cousin give him the medicine? Jiang Ning, "Let's meet and talk. Are you free at noon?" "Yes." After Xiao Shuangshan learned about the prospects of the medicine from her cousin, she became interested. Changqing liquid is not very popular now. If she can seize the opportunity and get the sales rights of this drug, the future will be promising. There are not many opportunities that can be seen in life. Xiao Shuangshan is unwilling to guard the small pawn shop for the rest of her life. She wants to experience a bigger world. At least when she sees old friends in the past, she can face them calmly instead of sighing. Jiang Ning is the only person she can contact now who knows Changqing liquid. If she can get Changqing liquid through him, it would be great. "I'll go to your store at noon," Jiang Ning decided. The first class was Chinese, and Ma Shichen stood for the whole class. After class, Ma Shichen scolded De Yangqun for being a stutterer. De Yangqun said that he would ask him questions in the next class, and if he couldn't recite it, he would stand for another class in the next class. "I won't recite it anymore," he said angrily. Zhenglu added, "Yes, Ma Shichen, you should be tougher and stop reciting." Ma Shichen finally gave in. He was so angry that he took the textbook and went out to find a quiet place to recite. Jiuo Kunan came to Zhenglu with his mobile phone and said in disbelief, "How did you get such a high score in Qianshan Qpao?" Jiuo Kunan couldn't believe it. Zhenglu was just a small follower in his list, but suddenly she became the top sister on the list, and the top sister with a very high score. "Do you have any special skills?" Zhenglu thought for a while and said, "It's very easy to run. I do this, and then this, and I can't die." She imitated Jiang Ning's game gestures. Jiuo Kunan listened to him in vain and returned to his seat to continue playing the game. He firmly believed that, if he continued to practice hard, his score would definitely surpass Zhenglu. After seeing Jiuo Kunan leave, Zhenglu smiled and said to Jiang Ning, "When he surpasses me, can you help me run again? I'll buy you some fruit tea." She had already thought about it, using Jiang Ning's hand to dominate the game rankings. Jiang Ning nodded, "Okay." The third class was chemistry class. Jiuo Ran was dressed pretty today, with a pink t-shirt with a rainbow plaid shirt and straight high-waisted jeans. With her pretty face, she was very eye-catching. Ma Shichen was instantly revived. As long as there is a chemistry teacher, there is hope in life. Before class, Jiuo Ran announced to news that Jiang Ning would be the representative of the chemistry class. The classmates in the class were stunned. Jiang Ning was one of the most famous students in class 8, but he was mainly famous for fighting. As for Jiang Ning's academic performance, don't joke, Dong Qingfeng, Bai Yuxia, Chen Kan and others never took Jiang Ning seriously. They had never seen Jiang Ning study seriously. Although the scoreline for students who could enter class 8 was the same level, some students barely managed to get through 640, while others scored 680 or 690. Some attended cram schools during the summer vacation and prepared for most of the content of the first year of high school, while others played around for the entire summer vacation. The knowledge in high school is more difficult than that in junior high school. Those who used to rely on their talents in junior high school will soon be eliminated if they don't work hard in high school, unless they are extremely talented. Now Jiang Ning was appointed as the class representative by the chemistry teacher, and it was definitely not because Jiang Ning had good grades, but for other reasons. Ma Shichen once again recalled the snacks that Jiang Ning gave him on the day before the holiday. Did the chemistry teacher give it to him? Damn. Ma Shichen's hope was half extinguished. At noon, after Jiang Ning finished his meal, he carried a 1L bottle filled with cyan liquid, which was the evergreen liquid he pumped out of the air conditioner. Putting the bottle in his bag, Jiang Ning went to the pawn shop. Xiao Shuangshan was waiting for him in the store. When she saw Jiang Ning coming, she quickly stood up and poured a glass of water and hung a small sign at the door saying that the store was closed. Jiang Ning said directly, "I brought the evergreen liquid." He took out the bottle and put it on the table. The bottle was a large bottle of mineral water, which looked ordinary. Even Xiao Shuangshan felt that it was not as high-end as the jade bottle before. "Can I smell it?" Xiao Shuangshan said. She remembered the smell of the evergreen liquid very well. It was a rare and strange fragrance. After Xiao Shuangshan smelled it, she was sure that the smell was exactly what she smelled last time. Jiang Ning nodded in her heart. The smell of the evergreen liquid was also a special anti-counterfeiting proof. It was mixed with spiritual water and several extracted drugs. The smell produced could not be simulated with the current technology. Similarly, even if the ingredients were clear, the evergreen liquid could not be imitated. "Besides this bottle of evergreen liquid, do you have more?" Xiao Shuangshan asked. If she wanted to sell the evergreen liquid, this bottle alone would not be enough. Jiang Ning sensed her thoughts, leaned back in his chair, and looked into her eyes. "Tell me what you think. Don't hide it." His voice was very calm. However, Xiao Shuangshan felt an inexplicable sense of distance, as if the man in front of her was not a teenager, but an elder who had seen a lot. Xiao Shuangshan became suspicious. She wondered if Jiang Ning had other intentions when he gave her the Changqing liquid last time. But she was not stupid. She realized that the other party was not harming her, but giving her an opportunity. "I plan to be the agent for the sales rights of the Changqing liquid. Can you help me contact the person who developed the Changqing liquid? I hope to establish a long-term cooperation with him." Xiao Shuangshan said sincerely. She added some strength and introduced, "I have some experience in medicine. I have certain connections in drug qualification certification, clinical testing, and business licenses." Jiang Ning was quite satisfied with Xiao Shuangshan. His vision was right. Xiao Shuangshan was unwilling to accept the status quo and was willing to work hard for it. In the future, she would be responsible for the entire spiritual medicine, while he would enjoy the profits brought by the spiritual medicine and concentrate on cultivation. After thinking about it, Jiang Ning did not answer her question, but said, "The Changqing liquid can make people grow hair without any side effects. The effect lasts for 2 months. After 2 months, the effect will disappear, and the hair will fall out again." Xiao Shuangshan knew that the effect of the medicine would last for 2 months, which made her feel relieved. From the beginning, she did not think that this bottle of medicine could keep people from losing hair forever. "There is 1L of Changqing liquid in the bottle, which is enough for 20 people. I will give you half a month and you give me 200,000 yuan." Xiao Shuangshan calculated that the average price of one portion was 10,000 yuan, which was a relatively expensive price. No matter what method you use, if you give me 200,000 in a week, I will give you the agency rights. Jiang Ning didn't care how Xiao Shuangshan sold it. If she really sold it, it meant that she had some skills. If she paid out of her own pocket, it showed that she valued the Changqing liquid. As long as she could give him 200,000, it would be enough. The efficacy of the Changqing liquid was there. As long as Xiao Shuangshan was not a complete waste, it would definitely be promoted in the future after a large number of products were distributed. He was too lazy to worry about those things. The meaning of secular money to him was to ensure his cultivation. As long as his cultivation was in place, everything would be there. Can you make the decision? Xiao Shuangshan asked. Jiang Ning said, yes. Xiao Shuangshan felt more and more weird. Why could a teenager make the decision on such a big thing? Didn't the real owner of the Changqing liquid know the value of the Changqing liquid? It seemed to be confusing again. Okay, I'll take the Changqing liquid. Jiang Ning was thinking in his heart that, in order to control Xiao Shuangshan in the future, he might be able to show some means, because after the spiritual medicine affairs were handed over to Xiao Shuangshan, the financial power was indirectly controlled by Xiao Shuangshan. The profits of Changqing liquid are counted in billions. These funds must not be placed in his name, otherwise there is a high probability that they will be traced and disrupt his peaceful life. Jiang Ning has decided that the funds of Changqing liquid will be placed in Xiao Shuangshan's name in the future. If he wants to buy a villa or expensive items, he will directly use her name and go through her bank account. It can be said that Jiang Ning's financial resources are tied to Xiao Shuangshan. As for whether he is worried that Xiao Shuangshan will be out of control, he will tie his life to it. After he and Xiao Shuangshan reached a cooperation, he did not even have a research and development laboratory for raw material procurement, spiritual liquid production, factory selection, and even the development of more drugs in the future. In the future, he will need Xiao Shuangshan to cover it up. It is very difficult to completely hide these things from her. The other party has been in society for several years and is not a fool who only obeys orders. If Xiao Shuangshan is smart enough, she will not go into it. Think about it for a moment. A person who used to be mediocre, working from 9 to 6 every day, earning a salary of a few thousand or tens of thousands of yuan, endured the beatings of society, and suddenly there was an opportunity to get rich. He must grab it tightly and be unwilling to let go. Of course, if Xiao Shuangshan is not smart enough, then Jiang Ning can replace him with someone who is smart enough. Thank you. Pinhope 202205121459111239. Quote, none of you know me prehistory, thank you for your awards. Chapter 70. Look. As soon as Jiang Ning entered the classroom in the afternoon, he saw several classmates gathered around his seat. Through the gaps in the crowd, he saw Ma Shicheng sitting on a stool in the innermost corner, with his mobile phone placed horizontally on the desk, and the screen playing Qin's Moon. Several classmates discussed endlessly. It's good. The special effects are really good, and the fighting is also amazing. I heard that the fourth part bought new technology and spent tens of millions to make it. During this period, the reputation of Qin's Moon was booming. Like Kiba, it was hailed as the light of domestic production, and everyone was looking forward to it. Ma Shicheng, your picture is so clear, much clearer than what I see. The ultra clear picture quality I downloaded is more than 200 megabytes per episode. It took me a long time to download it, Ma Shicheng said complacently. When he watched anime, he always downloaded the clearest picture quality. Jiang Ning did not disturb them, walked out of the classroom, and stood in the corridor to look at the campus. Not long after, the classmates around Ma Shicheng dispersed with reluctance, because the Qin's Moon he downloaded had played to the last episode. If he wanted to watch it again, he had to download a few new episodes. The small garden Wi-Fi in front of the classroom has too many people who know about it, and too many people are connected to it, so the speed is slow. It takes him a long time to download Qin's Moon. Fortunately, he found a new place to use the Wi-Fi. Ma Shicheng decided to go to the UK internet cafe at the school gate to use the Wi-Fi after school in the afternoon. After the classmates dispersed, Jiang Ning returned to his seat. Zheng Lu turned around to chat with Jiang Ning. She noticed Jiang Ning when he came just now, but because Jiang Ning's seat was occupied, he couldn't come. As a result, Jiang was a little annoyed by the classmates who surrounded her from behind. Jiang Ning, do you know that someone in our next class 1 is in love? Jiang gossiped. Without waiting for Jiang Ning to answer, Ma Shichen continued, who is with whom? Is the girl pretty? The girl is Dan Jia. Jiang said. Jiang Ning remembered this girl. She was pretty. From his point of view, she was about the same level as Shen Qinj. Really? Ma Shichen didn't want to believe it. Class 1 was next door. As a boy, he liked pretty girls. He had already recognized the pretty girls in his class in class 1. Even if Dan Jia is placed in class 8, which has many pretty girls, she can still be ranked among the best. Ma Shichen is not happy that such a girl is actually in love. Jiuo Kunan and Shan Keiquan, who were standing next to him, heard the news and stretched their heads over to chat. Seeing that there were a lot of people, Jiang continued, it's not really a relationship. My friend told me that she lives in the dormitory next to Dan Jia. I heard that Wei Ziyuan from class 1 is pursuing Dan Jia and sends her snacks, fruits and other things every day. Shan Keiquan said, he definitely can't catch up with Dan Jia. Ma Shichen agreed with him and shared the same hatred. Wei Ziyuan, I know, he is about the same height as the class monitor, but he is far behind me in terms of handsomeness. He dares to pursue Dan Jia like that? Damn it, I remember the UK supermarket at the door. It was opened by his family. I will never go there again. Shan Keiquan said, that's right. Every penny we spend in UK supermarket will be converted into pocket money for Wei Ziyuan to pursue Dan Jia in the future. Ma Shichen agreed with him, and he would never do anything to support the enemy. Jiang was speechless, not understanding why they reacted so strongly. But you know what? The girls in class 1 always seem to have a different temperament. Ma Shichen suddenly said, they have a scholarly temperament and are particularly quiet. Shan Keiquan agreed, yes, I think so too. It's not surprising. If you want to get into class 1, you need to score at least 700 points in the high school entrance exam, and you should be much better at studying than us. She's good at studying, pretty, and I heard she can dance. I wonder who will be able to catch up with her in the future. Shan Keiquan sighed. Even though the other party was a student of the same age, when facing a girl who was much better at studying than them, they would always feel an inexplicable sense of inferiority, as if they were out of their league. Jiang was a little unhappy when she heard them praise the girls in class 1. Class 1 was next to class 8, and the students in the class would often mention class 1. However, every time they mentioned the other party, they always seemed to lack confidence, as if the students in class 1 were superior. The students of the two classes would occasionally be compared by some substitute teachers, and in their words, class 8 was not as good as class 1. The classmates knew this was the fact, but they were still indignant. Jiang thought that Dan Jia was pretty, had good grades, and had a good temperament, but her figure was flat. As for her, Jiang looked down and immediately felt much more comfortable. The topic was originally brought up by Jiang, but was gradually diverted by Ma Shichen and others, and they began to talk about the girls in class 1. After school in the afternoon, Jiang Ning went out to buy food as usual. Zhu Yuantang took a cup of hot water, lay on the desk, as if he had died, and handed over a paper bill with his little hand. Jiang Ning, please bring me a portion of grilled cold noodles, a cup of iced fruit tea, and a portion of rao jiama with more green peppers. Jiang Ning took the money. You have been eating more and more recently. Zhu Yuantang said righteously, I only had half a bowl of rice at noon. Yes, you're right. Jiang Ning said perfunctorily. It's true that he only ate half a bowl of rice, but when Jiang Ning came back from the pawn shop at noon, he found that the portions of the dishes today were particularly small. There were 3 dishes, and each dish only had half a plate. It was obviously wrong, as if someone had stolen it. Zhu Yuantang claimed that she waited for him to come back to eat, and she pointed to the untouched rice in the rice cooker as proof. So she ate most of the half plate of dishes. Jiang Ning didn't eat enough at noon. Too lazy to expose her, Jiang Ning took the money and went out to buy things. There are many snack stalls in front of the school, and the aroma is dazzling. It is easy to make choices. Zhu Yuantang's food was used as a reference for Jiang Ning, so that he didn't have to think about it himself, and he could just order one of each. When he walked to the snack cart stall selling grilled cold noodles, the stall owner was a kind looking aunt, and there was a primary school student in school uniform standing next to her. Jiang Ning heard from Ma Shicheng and others that this grilled cold noodles tasted good. 2 servings of grilled cold noodles, slightly spicy. Then he looked at the side dish area. What other side dishes can be added to this? The aunt smiled kindly. Grilled cold noodles come with eggs, and other dishes can be added with spicy strips, sausages, and that. Halfway through her words, the elementary school student next to her said, there is also the tenderloin, and enoki mushrooms, and chicken steak. He frowned and looked at Jiang Ning seriously. Seeing his familiar look, Jiang Ning couldn't help but ask, is this your mother? The elementary school student said, no, I'm here to buy grilled cold noodles. Do you come here to eat every day? The elementary school student swallowed his saliva. Sometimes I don't have money, so I just stand here and watch. Jiang Ning was happy and waved his hand. Big brother will treat you to a meal today. The elementary school student was stunned and couldn't believe that there was such a good thing in the world. Do you want to eat? Yes. Jiang Ning spent 8 yuan and bought a high-end grilled cold noodles for the elementary school student. On the way back to campus with snacks, Jiang Ning saw Ma Shicheng standing at the entrance of UK supermarket, having just taken a bottle of Coke out of the freezer. When Ma Shicheng saw Jiang Ning, he even said hello. Jiang Ning, see you in the classroom tonight. Chapter 71 Simple Happiness. Ma Shicheng drank a sip of ice cola and walked into the UK supermarket calmly. He walked in for more than 10 meters, pushed open a door, and the smell of cigarettes hit him in the face. The light in the small room was dim, and there were some students standing scattered inside. There were several computers placed in order against the wall. People who were surfing the internet wore headphones and were concentrating on the game on the screen. This is the UK Internet Cafe. Ma Shicheng looked around. Without exception, the people standing there all had mobile phones in their hands, poking and clicking. Only a few people had a bottle of drink in their hands. Ma Shicheng suddenly felt that his status was a little higher. He bought a cola before coming in to use the Wi-Fi. He was a VIP user. Ma Shicheng turned on the Wi-Fi switch and a smile spread across his face. The Wi-Fi speed of UK Internet Cafe was very fast. It took only 4 or 5 minutes to download an episode of Kin's Moon. During the afternoon break, he could download 10 episodes in one go. He clicked on the video software, found the option to cache the video, and clicked to download. However, the internet speed was not as fast as he thought, but very slow. Ma Shicheng was puzzled. At this time, an old man who was playing League of Legends shouted, "Brothers, let me show you how to play Ice Shooter." Several students who were using the free internet behind them were using the Wi-Fi to download things while watching these people play games. Sometimes, the people who played the game played well and got a double kill or a triple kill, and there would be a burst of praise from the back, saying that the gaming experience was great. Ma Shicheng was connected to the Wi-Fi here, and he was very unhappy about the slow speed. His mobile phone was not expensive, and he could not compete with other people's mobile phones in grabbing Wi-Fi. He saw a Samsung phone and a Meizu phone, both of which were better than his phone. Ma Shicheng was very angry and had no choice but to endure the slow speed. Suddenly, the door of UK Internet Cafe was pushed open, and a tall boy in shorts fanned the oncoming smoke, looked inside, and joked, "It's quite lively." Several students who were using the free internet immediately put on smiles on their faces. The little boss is here. Ma Shicheng knew that the person called the little boss was Wei Ziyuan, the boy from class 1 who was chasing Deng Jiai as they discussed at noon. At this moment, for some reason, Ma Shicheng always felt that Wei Ziyuan looked down at them. Ma Shicheng thought, isn't it just a supermarket at home? What's so great about it? When I graduate, I will definitely work for a big company. What's a small supermarket? Wei Ziyuan chatted with others for a few words, closed the door and left. Ma Shicheng felt even more upset. Maybe it was because the Wi-Fi was too slow today, or maybe it was because Wei Ziyuan was chasing after the girl in class 1, but Ma Shicheng didn't even dare to chase her. The brother who was playing games next to him shouted, solo kill the jungler, did you see it? Just ask if you are awesome. Brother is awesome. These noisy voices reached Ma Shicheng's ears, and these unpleasant things weighed on his heart. Ma Shichen was angry. I don't want to be a human being anymore. He found a secret place where no one could see the screen of his mobile phone. Ma Shichen stretched out his evil finger and pointed to the screen, a software icon with a red dot. This is a Wi-Fi killer. After obtaining root privileges, Android phones can use Wi-Fi killer software, which can kill other users in the same local area network. This is a very powerful software, and Ma Shichen rarely uses it. But at this moment, he opened the software and stared at the computer monitor. The brother who just roared was controlling the ice archer and was chasing two squishy people. The skill cooldown of the ice archer ended, and the man controlled the hero to use the skill. Ma Shichen activated the Wi-Fi killer and selected the user in the list to intercept the network. At this moment, Ash shot a cone of arrows and was about to get a double kill. The brother who played the game almost slammed the table. However, the arrow rain solidified halfway and stayed there, motionless. Ma Shichen's Wi-Fi network speed was instantly full, and the video was downloaded very quickly. No network. Why is there no network? Do you have network there? No, it suddenly broke down. What's going on? Whether it was the few people playing on the computer or the students who were using the network, they were all confused. Why did the network suddenly break down? Ma Shichen witnessed all this, with a sneer on his face and a mocking look in his eyes, saying, "You are just a bunch of ants. Once my brother Ma makes a move, you all will be defeated. What are you standing there for? Go and call the boss." The boss of UK supermarket is a middle-aged man wearing glasses, with neatly combed hair and neatly dressed clothes. If English teacher Chen Haiyang stands with the supermarket boss, most people will think that the supermarket boss is more like a teacher. "Boss Wenny, your network is down. I will be super god in this game." The old man who just played the game wondered. He finally killed all 4 sides in a game, but before he could feel happy, the network was gone. "I will fix it right away. I will fix it right away," Boss Wenny said kindly. He went to check the port of the network cable. The light was still on, and he was sure that there was no problem, but there was no network. Ma Shichen looked at Boss Wenny checking the network, and the arrogance in his heart became more and more inflated. What about the boss of a small supermarket? What can he do to me? His network speed is still full. Boss Wenny studied it for a while, and didn't know what went wrong, so he turned on the gateway, and prepared to restart it. As soon as the internet on his side was turned off, Ma Shichen's internet was also lost, and the download progress bar that was rising rapidly stopped. Damn, he did it too ruthlessly. He even lost his own Wi-Fi. It seems that next time I can't kill computer users, I can just kill all Wi-Fi users. Ma Shichen planned this way. Before the evening self-study, Ma Shichen returned to the class triumphantly, like a winner, feeling extremely comfortable. When he saw Wei Ziyuan from the next class again, he wouldn't feel suffocated. After all, he had defeated the other's father, and was no longer a person of the same level. Shan Kaikwun sat in Ma Shichen's seat. "Jiang Ning, do you know how to chase girls?" Jiang Ning said, "I don't know." He really didn't know how to chase girls. He had 1 or 2 relationships during his school days, but he didn't chase them. Instead, they had a good impression of each other when they were together, so they got together. As for chasing girls, he didn't know how to do it, and he couldn't chase them. Shan Kaikwun felt strange. "I see you get along well with girls." He knew that Jiang Ning went home with Zhu Yuantang every day, and Zheng Lu's attitude towards him was also different. Jiang Ning shook his head. "It's different. It's not based on chasing." Shan Kaikwun expressed his incomprehension. After Ma Shichen came over, he happened to hear the two chatting, and he asked, "Brother K, which girl do you want to pursue?" Shan Kaikwun did have this intention. Today, when he heard Zheng Lu say that Dang Jiai from class 1 was being pursued by someone, he felt a sense of crisis, and he aimed at Bei Yuxia in the class. Bei Yuxia is prettier than Dang Jiai. If a student from class 1 comes to pursue Bei Yuxia, he doesn't know if he can win the competition at that time, so he plans to strike first. However, Shan Kaikwun would definitely not admit it. Only his close friend Jiuo Kunan knew this little secret. "No, I just want to find out how to pursue girls." Ma Shichen patted his chest. "I'm good at this." Shan Kaikwun didn't quite believe it. He instinctively felt that Ma Shichen was unreliable. "As for girls, you don't need to chase them. As long as you become excellent and have something that attracts them, they will take the initiative to come to you. He said it very logically. Shan Kaikwun suddenly felt that there was some truth in it and then asked, how can I become excellent? Ma Shiching, become handsome, get good grades, play basketball well, have high gaming skills, and improve emotional intelligence. Shan Kaikwun was annoyed and said with a sad face, but this is difficult. Shan Kaikwun, who was in love, no longer had his usual vigor. Wang Lang Lang ran over and said with a flattering face, brother Ma, can you lend me your phone to play with? Ma Shicheng pushed it generously, take it and play with it. Wang Lang Lang walked away with a smile on his face, finally playing with the phone again. He was also someone who could play everyday Cool Run. Shan Kaikwun looked at Wang Lang Lang, then at himself. Oh, I really envy him for being able to be happy so easily. Chapter 72, Fun and Evil. A few days later in the morning, at 10:30, the sky outside the classroom gradually became gloomy, and soon, rain fell from the sky. The east wind wrapped in water droplets hit the glass, making dense dripping sounds. The rain was so heavy that the students in the class were anxious. This rain came unexpectedly. Jiang Ning, did you bring an umbrella? Zheng Lu turned around and spoke before class started. I brought it. Jiang Ning observed the sky last night and confirmed that it would rain today, so he brought a black umbrella. In fact, he didn't need to. He only needed to perform the rain shelter technique to spread his spiritual power around his body, forming a raincoat-like effect to prevent the rain from wetting his clothes. He brought an umbrella just for Zhu Yuantang. Before going out, Zhu Yuantang said that it would never rain today because she looked at the weather forecast on her mobile phone and insisted on not taking an umbrella. Zheng Lu was a little disappointed when she heard that Jiang Ning brought an umbrella. If he didn't bring an umbrella, then she could share an umbrella with him. Are you going back for lunch at noon? She asked. I'm not going back. It's raining hard outside, Jiang Ning said. His classmates were still praying for the rain to stop. However, from his point of view, the rain would probably continue until the evening. Zheng Lu said, okay. She didn't want to go home for lunch. The rain still didn't stop until noon. The students walked out of the classroom and crowded in the corridor, watching the rain outside. There were also some students standing in the corridor of class 1 next to class 8 on the left, but more students from class 1 were reading in the classroom. To the right of class 8, grade 1, was the staircase. Students came down from upstairs and gathered in the corridor. The number of people increased little by little, and the sound of gossip and complaints spread out, and an anxious atmosphere spread. This autumn rain came too suddenly, and there were only a few students with umbrellas. Zhu Yuantang came to the back row. She tied her hair into a high ponytail today, full of energy. Jiang Ning, I won't go home at noon. I won't go home either. Let's go out to eat when the rain is lighter. Okay, bring me one. Zhu Yuantang didn't want to go out. Jiang Ning said, no, you come with me. Okay. Zhu Yuantang ran back to her seat. Jiang Ning found that Zhu Yuantang was very lazy during school. She would lie down as much as possible. Jiang Ning always bought dinner for her. Jiang Ning recalled the past. It seemed that in her previous life, Zhu Yuantang was just like this, lying on the desk all day and not socializing with others. She seemed to have few friends and only lived in her own world. I remember one winter afternoon after school, Jiang Ning came back after buying dinner for Shenkinj and saw Zhu Yuantang eating bread and drinking water from the water dispenser. Why do I remember that time? Because Shenkinj wanted to eat squid burritos that day, Jiang Ning bought her a high-end burritos and spent 13 yuan. Only 1 yuan was left for dinner, so he bought the same bread as Zhu Yuantang. The bread was very dry, and he took the boiled water away. Zhu Yuantang did not wait for the next wave of boiled water to be boiled, and took the cold water to drink. The winter in Hui province is very cold, 7 or 8 degrees below zero. At that time, Jiang Ning was still feeling that Zhu Yuantang was really a weirdo. The rain was still falling. It had been 10 minutes, and many people were getting impatient. From time to time, some students could be seen rushing into the heavy rain alone, some with school bags on their heads, running fast, while others were leisurely strolling in the rain, revealing a chic and embarrassed back. Wang Lang Lang stood in the corridor facing the rain, with his hands behind his back. His slightly fat body exuded a kind of aloofness, which was completely different from the anxious classmates around him. He chanted lightly, "Good rain knows the season, and it happens in spring." The abrupt voice echoed in the crowd, attracting people to look. Bayuksha, who was standing aside, quietly stepped away a few steps. She felt that the person next to her might be a fool. Ma Shichen clapped in cooperation. Good poem, brother Long is so talented." Wang Lang Lang showed a humble smile on his face. Zheng Lu said, "What about the rest? Can you recite it?" Wang Lang Lang was immediately embarrassed. He suddenly remembered this, so how could he remember what was the rest? Zheng Lu snorted, "It's autumn, and you're still having spring rain?" After another 7 or 8 minutes, the rain finally got lighter, and students gradually walked outside. Jiang Ning held the umbrella, walked to Zhu Yuantong, and knocked on her desk. "Get up, go eat." "No, no, bring me some." Jiang Ning grabbed her collar and gently lifted her up, and Zhu Yuantong got off the desk. "You eat so much and don't exercise, you'll get fat," he patiently advised. Zhu Yuantong adjusted her collar and complained, "She's as nagging as my mom." But she said this, and followed Jiang Ning out of the classroom. Jiang Ning held up the umbrella, and Zhu Yuantong hid under it. The umbrella was quite big, and it was no problem to cover 2 people. When they walked to the school gate, the rain was much lighter, and Jiang Ning still held the umbrella. Zhu Yuantong looked back, and saw a dense crowd of people behind him, and students were rushing out in waves. There were not many snack stalls on the street in front of the school gate at this time. It rained too hard before, so many stall owners didn't come. Some snack stalls set up rainproof racks. "Jiang Ning, what are we going to eat for lunch?" "I know a restaurant, the food is okay," Jiang Ning said. "The owner of that restaurant has good skills and is clean. Follow me," he said. The street was not crowded. Zhu Yuantong followed Jiang Ning closely, as if seeking a sense of security. Whenever she was in a crowded place, she always felt alienated from the world and instinctively didn't like crowded places. After walking about 100 meters, there were more people on the street. There was a small intersection in front, with small alleys on both sides. A big wolf dog rushed out of the alley, followed by a fat middle-aged man in a vest. Bald in front, beer belly, fake gold chain, fake gold watch. Jiang Ning's eyesight saw him clearly. The fat man walked on the street without paying attention to the big wolf dog running rampant in front of him. Jiang Ning clearly noticed that Zhu Yuantong next to him tensed up and felt a tremor. He looked at Zhu Yuantong and found that her eyes were fixed on the big wolf dog. Is she afraid of dogs? That's right, the dog was a big wolf dog, and it was sturdy and strong. Most adults would be scared when they saw it. The fat man's big wolf dog was still ferocious. It stretched its nose and walked arrogantly on the street. When it met some students, it sniffed them. The students were scared and quickly avoided it. Some timid girls didn't dare to walk on the street at all, but walked close to the shops on both sides. The fat man didn't care and seemed to have a smile on his face, proud of it. The big wolf dog wandered around and ran to the snack stall to rub against it. Some students were standing there waiting for the stall owner to make snacks, but the dog came up, opened its mouth, showed its ferocious teeth, and bit the students' trouser legs. The students were so scared that their bodies were stiff. They didn't dare to resist at all. They stared at the big wolf dog and let it bite them, for fear of angering it. Some passers-by looked at the fat man with disgust. The fat man ignored him and walked on as if nothing had happened, letting the big wolf dog bite people. Zhu Yuantong quickened his pace, preparing to walk quickly through this section of the road. However, the more afraid you are of a dog, the closer it will come, as if it can smell the fear of humans. The big wolf dog abandoned the students at the snack stand and ran towards Zhu Yuantong. Judging from the speed it ran, it seemed as if it was really going to pounce on him. Zhu Yuantong trembled in his heart and couldn't help but want to dodge. Suddenly, his shoulder felt warm. Jiang Ning's hand was on it. There is another chapter later. Chapter 73, Assistance. Zhu Yuantong raised her head slightly. She saw Jiang Ning's calm eyes, and her heart suddenly calmed down. Yes, she was not alone. She had Jiang Ning by her side. Jiang Ning was so powerful, he could definitely protect her. She thought again, what if Jiang Ning was bitten by a dog? Or run away with her? She ran very fast. Zhu Yuantang was tangled. The people around looked at this scene, and no one dared to stop it. The fat dog owner didn't care. His dog would at most knock the little girl down and nibble a few times. Anyway, it wouldn't bite the other party. Besides, even if it bites someone, so what? In his judgment, at most he would have to pay a few $100 for the injection. Most of these students were cowards and didn't dare to make a big fuss. The fat man let his dog rush up, and he didn't have any intention of stopping it. Jiang Ning looked at the big wolf dog rushing over with a cold look in his eyes. If no one stopped it, Zhu Yuantang would definitely be knocked down. It had just rained, and the ground was very dirty, and he would definitely get covered in mud. Whether now or in the past, he didn't like such dogs and people, or rather, such people and his dogs were already the same creatures, and they no longer had the basic qualities to be called human beings. He clenched his hands gently, and a ball of spiritual power surged out and condensed in an instant. The fist formed by the spiritual power rushed forward suddenly, forming a strong invisible airwave. It hit the head of the big wolf dog head on, like a brick smashing it, and rushed forward. The wolf dog screamed gab. Others saw it, and they only felt that the wolf dog was rushing fiercely, and suddenly stopped, then screamed, and lay crooked on the ground, completely unable to understand what was going on. The dog owner, who was originally indifferent, saw this scene, as if his own son was injured, and hurried over to care. He was afraid that his son would be in trouble. However, he just walked behind the big wolf dog. Jiang Ning urged the spiritual power, turned into a big hand, and slapped it out of the void. With his current cultivation, the power of the spiritual power hand gathered is still relatively huge for ordinary people. The spiritual power hand hit the fat man's back, and the force knocked him forward, as if he was walking unsteadily, and he fell down. The fat man pressed down the big wolf dog, and his heavy body hit the big wolf dog, and made it scream again. Zhu Yuantang was stunned in place, thinking it was really amazing. A few male students passed by. They were sports students with good physical fitness. They laughed without scruples. Uncle, no matter how uncomfortable you are, you can't do this to the dog in the street. It's too indecent. Ha ha ha. There were voices of gloating all around. The fat man was furious when he heard it. He struggled to stand up and glared at several high school students. However, the high school students were strong and healthy. If he took action, he would definitely suffer. He could only stare blankly. Jiang Ning had been standing for more than 10 seconds. A spiritual mark was made. He flicked his finger lightly, and the mark flew to the fat man. No one present noticed it. Let's go, let's eat, Jiang Ning said. 3 minutes later, Jiang Ning arrived at a small restaurant. Perhaps because of the rain, there was only one table of customers in the restaurant. They looked like students, with damp hair and clothes. They must have been the ones who ran out when the rain did not stop. The proprietress was a woman in her early 30s. When she saw the customers coming, she greeted them warmly. There is a menu on the wall. Tell me what you want to eat. Jiang Ning looked down at Zhu Yuantang. She was usually eloquent when she asked him to bring food, but now she was silent. Fortunately, he had eaten with Zhu Yuantang these days, and had figured out her preferences, which were similar to his own. Chicken with spicy sauce, fried squid with garlic moss, bean sprouts and fried dough sticks, and a serving of sweet potato porridge, and a 5 yuan cake. Jiang Ning ordered the food in a familiar way. Some of the dishes were not on the menu. After graduating from college, this restaurant was still open. He came here to eat during his breaks, and knew many dishes that were not on the menu, but the boss could also cook them. Hearing the name of the dish, the proprietress was surprised. Have you eaten here before? Jiang Ning replied, I haven't been here, but I heard from others that the food here is delicious, so I came here to try it. The proprietress was obviously very happy to hear someone praise their delicious food. Please sit here, the dishes are freshly cooked, and we will serve you later. Jiang Ning chose a remote location. Because it was close to the corner and blocked by the vertical refrigerator, the original 4-person seat could only accommodate 3 people. In this way, generally no guests would come to share the table. Zhu Yuantang sat down awkwardly, occasionally looking around, as if he rarely went out to eat. Jiang Ning turned on his mobile phone and clicked on the page of Xianshan QPO. Do you want to play? Play. Zhu Yuantang said, and then played the game quietly. Jiang Ning was thinking about cultivation. With the help of the key gathering pill, he has reached the second level of key training, but there is still some distance to the fourth level of key training where transformation will occur. At present, only by setting up the spirit gathering array and promoting the cultivation of medicinal materials can he refine a better quality key gathering pill and speed up his cultivation. The spirit gathering array has many mysterious features, which greatly helps his cultivation. Now the primary goal is to use the Changqing liquid to obtain funds, to buy a villa on the top of Huqi Mountain, and then find a way to obtain the right to contract part of the forest on Huqi Mountain. At present, Xiao Shuangshang is promoting the Changqing liquid. The day before yesterday, she sent an email to report the progress. The price of Changqing liquid will definitely drop in the future. The current price is 10,000 just to test the market. Changqing liquid is made from medicinal materials quenched by spiritual water and spiritual fire. The spiritual water part can be made by array formation, and Jiang Ning does not need to worry about it. But the part of quenching medicinal materials can only be done by Jiang Ning himself. If there are enough medicinal materials, Jiang Ning can quench hundreds of medicinal materials in half an hour. He would spend at most half an hour a day on the evergreen liquid. If he spent more time, it would affect his cultivation progress, and the gains would not outweigh the losses. The promotion of the evergreen liquid was okay in the early stage, but in the later stage, hundreds of copies a day would be far from meeting the market demand. Fortunately, the refining of the medicinal materials required for the evergreen liquid was much simpler than refining pills, and some apprentices in alchemy could also do it. Jiang Ning did not consider recruiting apprentices, and he thought of a way. The extraction of medicinal materials for the evergreen liquid may also be handed over to the spiritual formation for refining. But that level of spiritual formation requires a spirit to sit in charge. The so-called spirit, or living beings of souls, and after the soul is spiritualized and cultivated by the cultivator, it is a spirit, which has many functions. The higher the wisdom of the soul of the living being, the higher the quality of the soul made. Some alchemists and weapon trainers often do some unscrupulous things to collect souls for the sake of the best souls. Jiang Ning would not do that kind of thing, and he thought of the big wolf dog he met today. The dog's wildness has not been eliminated. It will be a nuisance if it is kept. Sooner or later, it will hurt people. If Jiang Ning had not stopped it today, it would really bite people. This kind of nuisance must be eliminated. He decided, well, I will take you as the spirit of the spirit array. It will be your blessing to help tens of millions of people with hair loss grow hair. This is also the reason why Jiang Ning put a spiritual mark on the fat man just now. Don't let everyone wait. Send it all at once. I want to read it and vote. There are so few tickets today. Chapter 74 Classroom. Jiang Ning, someone sent you an email. Zhu Yuantang said, and an email popped up on the screen just now. It was probably a work email from Xiao Shuangshang. Jiang Ning was not in a hurry to reply, but said, it's okay, you can have fun first. At this moment, several more people came in through the door. Ma Shicheng led the way, followed by Shan Keiquan, Jiuo Kunan and others. Hey, Jiang Ning, you're here too? Ma Shicheng said curiously. This was the first time he met Jiang Ning outside the school, when he went home for lunch. It's raining, it's not easy to go back, he said. After hearing this, Ma Shicheng took a few classmates to sit at the table next to Jiang Ning. There were 6 of them in the group, and 2 of them sat in the aisle, which was enough space. The proprietress came over to greet them. While Ma Shicheng was ordering, he asked a few other people and discussed it. They decided on the dishes. 5 dishes for 6 people. Ma Shicheng had lunch alone before, and because he was short of money, he could only order 1 dish, which was not satisfying. After all, even stir-fried potato shreds in the restaurants here cost 8 or 10 yuan. Many boarding students only have an average daily living expense of about 25 yuan, and they cannot afford to stir-fry 2 dishes at a time. So he organized a few classmates and decided to have lunch together so that there would be more varieties of dishes and they could save 1 or 2 yuan. They were all high school students and they had been hungry for a whole morning. Ma Shicheng was now starving. He absent-mindedly held his mobile phone and browsed the forum, expecting the dishes to come up quickly. His dishes were not waiting for him, but Jiang Ning's were ready. The proprietress brought the dishes, sweet potato porridge and pancakes over, and the aroma overflowed. Ma Shichen took a look at the dishes, ordered by Jiang Ning, and drooled with envy. The dishes they ordered were just over 10 yuan, such as green pepper potato shreds, duck blood tofu, tomato, and eggs. The 6 people together were not as expensive as Jiang Ning's. He knew that Jiang Ning had some money, but he didn't notice it at other times. Now that he came out to eat, he realized the difference. "Stop playing and eat," Jiang Ning said to Zhu Yuantang. Wait until I finish this game." As soon as she finished speaking, the game character fell into the pit. Zhu Yuantang returned the phone with regret. When she went back today, she would also download the game. Zhu Yuantang tasted the dish and found that it tasted okay, but not as good as her own cooking, so she just made do with it. She sighed in her heart. It turns out that my cooking is worse than some chefs. When she was about to finish eating, Jiang Ning went to the kitchen to find the proprietress to settle the bill. Before leaving, she said hello to Ma Shichen and the others. Ma Shichen and his group were eating. When they finished, he roughly calculated in his mind how much money the 6 of them had spent in total, and took out the banknotes to pay the bill. The proprietress said, "The total is 63 yuan. When the young man paid the bill just now, he paid for you together." Ma Shichen was confused. "Has it been paid?" "Yes, I have paid for you," the proprietress repeated. Okay, let's go." After they left the door, Jiuo-kun sighed. "Jiang Ning is a really nice guy. We can get along." Shan Keikwon thought the same thing. "Yes, I didn't expect him to pay for our meal as well. This meal is not cheap." Several other students followed suit and praised Jiang Ning. Everyone saved 10 yuan and felt a little happy. Ma Shichen wanted to say, "Why don't we go to the classroom to return the money to Jiang Ning," but looking at the looks of the others, he didn't say it in the end, and Jiang Ning might not want it. Before entering the school gate, Ma Shichen went to UK supermarket and spent 4 yuan to buy a large bag of melon seeds. By the way, he connected to the Wi-Fi, and when someone else came to buy things outside, he opened the killer software and killed a few people who were using the internet for free. Then he stayed at the door for a while, waiting for the students who were using the internet for free in the small dark room inside to come out with an unhappy face. Ma Shichen was very happy. "Let you steal my internet, a bunch of little trash." Ma Shichen's thoughts came to him, and then he turned off the killer software and stayed for a while before leaving. This can avoid being suspected by others. Ma Shichen is not stupid. He thinks he is still very smart. After arriving at the class, Ma Shichen said to Jiang Ning, "Thank you for lunch. I will treat you to some melon seeds." He took out 2 pieces of paper, put them on the desk, and then poured a large handful of melon seeds for Jiang Ning. Zheng Lu put a wrist on Jiang Ning's desk and was playing games. Jiang Ning pointed at the melon seeds. "Eat some. Eat right away." Zheng Lu originally planned to have lunch with Jiang Ning at noon, but her friends from other classes came over. She had no choice but to go with her friends. If she insisted on having lunch with Jiang Ning, her friends would definitely say that she valued love over friendship. Zheng Lu didn't want to show her thoughts at the moment. Ma Shichen held his mobile phone to find Wang Langlang. Recently, whether he was playing games or watching animations, he liked to be with Wang Langlang. Wang Langlang was a qualified audience. Now he was not used to playing games without Wang Langlang watching. Before the afternoon class, Jiang Ning had not finished eating the melon seeds. Zheng Lu ate them very slowly. Ma Shichen came back from playing games and dumped a bunch of melon seeds on the paper again. Jiang Ning reminded him, "The first class is Chinese. You should put the melon seeds away and try not to let the Chinese teacher see them." Zheng Lu was puzzled. Why? The Chinese teacher doesn't like people eating melon seeds. Jiang Ning said. When Ma Shichen heard this, he immediately recalled the last time he was punished by the Chinese teacher to stand, and new and old hatreds accumulated together. He got angry and vowed, "Not only will I not put them away, I will also eat sunflower seeds in his class, to see what he can do to me." Jiang Ning said, "Okay." Chinese teacher Dai Yankun came with the textbook. "Today we are learning a new classical Chinese text, Kan 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 Kong. Kang, that flew southeast. As usual, he asked a student to stand up and read aloud. Shan Kaikwan was unfortunately picked and finished reading haltingly. De Yangquan shook his head and threw the textbook away and improvised a performance of what recitation means. De Yangquan started reciting, and Ma Shichen was eating sunflower seeds below. His movements were relatively concealed, and De Yangquan didn't notice it at first. He explained the classical Chinese text word by word. Later, he glanced and happened to see Ma Shichen's sunflower seeds, and his expression changed instantly. De Yangquan threw the textbook onto the podium again, and the class became quiet. De Yangquan sighed. Some students, I really don't know what they are doing in school. They don't listen to the class, don't read books. You say you are like this, why do you still come to school? Although he didn't mention the name, Ma Shichen knew very well who he was talking about. That's right, it was himself. Eating melon seeds, you eat them so deliciously. De Yangquan said coldly. Do you know who eats melon seeds? What kind of people eat melon seeds in ancient times? I tell you, in ancient times, only those women who squatted on the door railings all day and used their beauty to seduce people would hold melon seeds and eat them one by one. What is that? That's a prostitute. Do you understand prostitutes? Only prostitutes eat melon seeds. Chinese teacher De Yangquan was very emotional and his words were completely illogical. It seemed that he had an unspeakable story with melon seeds. After this Chinese class was over, Zheng Lu took out the remaining melon seeds and prepared to taste them. Suddenly, she thought of the prostitutes that the Chinese teacher had just mentioned in class. Her face turned bitter, and she lost her appetite. She felt that she would think of this lesson of her Chinese teacher every time she ate melon seeds in her life. Thank you. Codename Y and Origin Book Friend 202205121459111239. Quote Jinkyu Love Sleeping Book Friend 201907291814488093. Quote Thank you all for your tips. There were a lot of votes yesterday. Everyone is very awesome. Chapter 75. Initial Promotion of Spiritual Medicine. During the break before the last class of the evening self-study class, Jiang Ning browsed her mailbox, which contained an email from Xiao Shuangshang. At first, Xiao Shuangshang sent a direct WeChat message, but later, because she had too much to say, she asked for Jiang Ning's email address. Xiao Shuangshang's report was very detailed, and she explained the promotion of Changqing liquid very clearly. Inside the pawn shop, Xiao Shuangshang was lying on her back on a chair. She had just sent away 2 bold customers, one of whom was a female customer. Now there was still a bottle of Changqing liquid left on the table in front of Xiao Shuangshang. Thinking back to the process of selling Changqing liquid in the past few days, Xiao Shuangshang couldn't help but feel excited. At first, after she got the Changqing liquid, she did not ask her cousin for help, but sold it as a folk remedy in the store. She contacted several bold old customers and told them about the efficacy of Changqing liquid. The other party was a long-term cooperative customer and had some intention to buy it. But after she quoted the price, there was no follow-up. The price of 10,000 yuan per bottle was still expensive. Xiao Shuangshang decided not to take a detour. She found her cousin Xiao Wenjun, who was the administrator of the bold group. After getting the Changqing liquid, the cousin set an example by patting the hair on his head and sending it to the group, which immediately shocked a lot of people. Xiao Wenjun has been active in the group for a long time. His young and tender bald head is the guiding light of the group and the belief of many group members. This sudden hair has attracted many discussions. Xiao Wenjun took this opportunity to launch the folk remedy of Changqing liquid. At the beginning, the group was just discussing it, and some people said that Xiao Wenjun was a liar. But at this time, the benefits of Xiao Wenjun's long-term mixing in the group came out, and a group of group members with good relationships cheered for him. Later, 2 bosses from Anshi drove to Yuzhou in the group and took 2 bottles of Changqing liquid. They wanted to pay, but Xiao Shuangshang confiscated them temporarily and let them use them first. If they think it is useful, they will pay again. The 2 bosses don't care much about 10,000 yuan. They can recharge hundreds of thousands of yuan playing online games. They have a rich family background and their business profit for a day is more than 10,000 yuan. It was mainly Xiao Shuangshang's attitude. They were very satisfied. After getting the Changqing liquid, they took the initiative to post a certificate in the group and took the lead in the experiment. In the few days in between, Xiao Xuangshan did not let his cousin continue to promote the Changqing liquid, but quietly waited for the results. And just yesterday, the two bosses excitedly posted photos. Their bald heads actually grew hair. They were excited and kept speaking in the group, turning into old fans of Changqing liquid. The two bosses are wealthy. They have posted their cars in the group before, which are luxury cars worth millions, so no one suspects that they are cheating. Now the group is boiling. The two bosses specifically asked Xiao Xuangshan for her bank account, transferred the money, and ordered a few more bottles. People in the group who have spare money drove to Yuzhou overnight to find Xiao Xuangshan to buy Changqing liquid. Xiao Xuangshan told everyone that there are 14 bottles left, which stopped the surging crowd. Look, she just sent away the last customer who bought Changqing liquid 20 bottles, 16 bottles sold. The remaining bottle was given to a close friend at the health bureau, who was asked to take it to get a detailed test. Another bottle was sent to the university counselor, who had a strong background, and Xiao Xuangshan asked her to help with the medical qualification process. In the end, there were 2 bottles left, one of which was promised to be given to her cousin Xiao Wenjun. After all, he helped a lot, and the other was kept as a backup. Looking at the white porcelain bottle, a smile appeared on Xiao Xuangshan's pretty face. In order to save costs, she did not use the jade bottle that Jiang Ning had used before, but found some simple and beautiful porcelain bottles. She had made friends with a girl in college, who later returned to her hometown, Sidu, after graduation, and worked on a job of painting on the surface of ceramics. Now she has become a small boss. The girl has some connections in Sidu, and the porcelain bottles that Xiao Xuangshan got from the girl, plus the transportation fee, cost less than 5 yuan per bottle, which is perfect for holding Changqing liquid. Next, use this group of people to spread the fame of Changqing liquid. When you get the qualifications, you can start to expand the market. Otherwise, even if Changqing liquid can cure baldness, it is a folk remedy after all. It has not been officially certified. It can only be sold in a small range, and cannot be expanded. That is not in compliance with regulations. But the price of 10,000 yuan per bottle is only guaranteed to be effective for 2 months. The price is still a bit expensive. At least people with the income of my cousin can't afford it. Xiao Xuangshan has experienced hair loss and knows the pain of losing hair, not to mention those bald people. It's okay for those who are older. They have wives and children. It's nothing. The key is that many people are bald at a young age. Xiao Xuangshan saw many people self-deprecating in the bald group. Even when Changqing liquid really worked, some people came up and asked about the price, and then they were silent and stopped talking. Xiao Xuangshan suddenly had an urge to do something for them, such as lowering the price a little, so that more people can use Changqing liquid and no longer be troubled by hair loss. But soon, she suppressed this urge. She didn't even get the status of an agent. At least we should promote Changqing liquid before considering this matter. However, Xiao Xuangshan still summarized the suggestions for reducing the price of Changqing liquid in the mailbox and sent it to Jiang Ning. Jiang Ning simply read the email and responded to several suggestions made by Xiao Xuangshan one by one. I will go to your store to discuss at 5 PM the day after tomorrow. At that time, I will give you 100 doses of Changqing liquid. When the qualification certification comes, you can use it for the second round of promotion. Then, Jiang Ning put away his mobile phone. The last evening self-study class was a real self-study class, but the head teacher Shan Qingrang came to the class. After noticing this, several boys in the back row quickly put away their phones. They might not be afraid of the teacher, but they were still a little afraid of the smiling tiger Shan Qingrang. That's right, more than a month after the start of school, everyone found out that Shan Qingrang was a smiling tiger. There is a forum in number 4 middle school. Students searched the forum and found many comments about Shan Qingrang, such as the smiling tiger of number 4 middle school and other titles, which made the students afraid of Shan Qingrang. Let me tell you one thing. After the monthly exam, our class will move to the teaching building at the back. It will probably be at the end of the month. Students, be mentally prepared. Hearing Shan Qingrong's words, the students were stunned. They had only been here for a short time, so why did they suddenly have to move away? Everyone was confused for a while. What about this classroom after we leave? Someone asked. I'm not sure either. This is the school's arrangement, Shan Qingrong said. After waiting for a while, he looked at his classmates and said with emotion, you students are lucky this year. I still remember a few years ago when this teaching building was just built and the windows were not installed. The school started. In the winter, there were no windows and the students were shivering with cold. I took them to buy greenhouse plastic sheets to seal the windows. The students were surprised. Jiao Kanan in the back row found it hard to believe. He asked, is it so hard? Shan Qingrong, yes, it is developing too fast now. The plastic track, multimedia computer projector, everything is ready. I heard that air conditioning will be installed soon. When the students heard about air conditioning, they were excited. They knew how hot it was in summer. If it was still this hot next summer, it would be too hard. Winter is coming soon. It is -7 or 8 degrees. The cold hands can't hold the pen. Writing makes you tremble. If there is air conditioning, it would be so happy. The students asked expectantly, teacher, do you know when the air conditioner will be installed? Shan Qingrong said, soon. Jiang Ning looked at this scene expressionlessly. He remembered very clearly that they had just finished the college entrance examination and the school installed air conditioners, but they had never used them once. Shan Qingrong talked about the monthly exams again, repeatedly emphasizing that everyone should prepare for the exams seriously. After the monthly exams, the school held a summary meeting, and the principal personally awarded scholarships. The top 10 students in the monthly exams would receive at least 300 yuan each. 300 yuan in 2013 was still a considerable amount for high school students. If it was given to Ma Shicheng and others, it would be enough for half a month's living expenses. But, the top 10 in the grade? What a joke, with 3 experimental classes blocking the way, let alone the top 10 in the grade. Even the top 100 in the grade would be extremely difficult to achieve. As a result, few students in class 8 took it seriously. Only a few students who performed particularly well in class, such as Deng Qingfeng, Chen Qian, and Bai Yuxia, secretly encouraged themselves. Some of them failed to perform well in the high school entrance examination, and some attended cram schools during the summer vacation. In addition, they studied hard and did not believe that they were not as good as the students in the experimental class. They firmly believed that they would be able to make a big splash in this monthly exam and surpass the students in the experimental class. I will read it in the next 2 days. If I read it enough, it will be available on the shelves earlier. I will give you more updates then. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.